I usually fix it in post production. For some reason I'm always really loud on this thing. Okay, should we get started? Got some amazing clips. Spent a lot of time this week going through and finding clips
You
and
did.
some funny phone calls. Yeah, I don't think we've ever done a clip show. Maybe we have done a clip show. I don't remember.
This is like a clip show, but it took the death of someone to make you do a clip show.
I put a lot of effort into this. All right, it's a special. This is a sick and wrong special. It's a special. Okay,
It's a special ed, the
it's a
special ed edition of Sick and Wrong.
it's a sped show, special ed show,
That it is.
for a special man. All right. Checkity, check, check. All right, we sound good. Everyone ready to go?
Everyone's saying we sound good.
All right, let's get started. Good evening. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, world source for antisocial commentary. I am one of your hosts, E. Simon.
And I am the other host, Kate Rambo. Hello.
Hey Rambo, it's a this is a special show. I was just saying it's a special. It's a tribute
It's a sped
to
show.
the one and only Harrison P. Lovecraft. I'm sure everyone knows by now through the social media posts, and I mentioned on the show, Harrison passed away about a month ago in his Hollywood apartment, and I'm still finding details about it. I'm not quite sure exactly the cause of death. I think it might have had something to do with drugs. I think people can surmise that.
Yeah.
Harrison was a fan of drugs. But Harrison was a fan of a lot of things. I mean, he lived life according to his own rules. That's why we titled this show "The Death of a Libertine," and it's like when I think of the term libertine, you think of someone like Oscar Wilde, but I also think of someone like Harrison.
Yeah,
That
Harrison. Your friend Kessler was totally a libertine too. Like life on their own terms. Fuck anyone else type of deal.
my brother's kind of one of
Yeah,
those
Jeffrey's one of them
like
too.
just living a not a carefree lifestyle, but a lifestyle like devoid of consequence or repercussion or and like sexual liberation. And that's the one thing with Harrison. Like that dude would try anything.
Yeah, it's a
And
very
you know,
like Marquis de Sade lifestyle. Just don't expect to like, go to your grave at the age of 90.
but I don't think he was my friend Kessler was like that too. Is I don't think Kessler was one of those people. It's like I'm going to have a family. By the time I'm 50, I'm going to have two kids and a house in the suburbs. I don't think Harrison was one of those people either. I think Harrison's like I want to live my life the way I want to live my life, and people could just fuck it, eat a dick if they have a
Yeah.
problem with it.
Well,
I'm
your
sure.
brother can definitely eat a dick.
Anyway, we're gonna tribute. This is gonna be a messy show, a drunken show. It's gonna be fun. I went through and found out like a lot of clips, a lot of phone calls. I was actually overwhelmed by the emails and the phone calls from all the fans. I mean, people genuinely adored Harrison. I was overwhelmed by it, and it was actually just. And I sent a screenshot to a couple of his friends, his personal friends, like one of his longtime friends, and he was just like, he goes, I found it surprisingly sweet because people have this like stigma about our audience. Our show has a stigma, and this perception of who listens to this show. But in the end, it's you develop a bond with people, and we said this too with podcasting. It's like it's different than a celebrity on a radio show or a television show or something. It's like you can like Howard Stern. People love Howard Stern, but it's not like they interact with Howard Stern. Harrison had personal relationships, with a lot of listeners.
Yeah, with me.
Yeah, with
That's how
you.
I started. Yeah.
He was a very active member of the Discord. When he was on the show, he had a lot of like relationships that lasted years with a lot of people. But he had a lasting impact and impression on the Sick and Wrong audience, and I think you can. It was very evident in the people's emails and comments and phone calls that we got. I mean, I would say I found them very touching.
D,
Touching.
did you find them soft and warm?
It was a very soft and warm moment. Yes. So I was thinking about this. I always preferred the way the Gentiles mourn the dead. I mean, me and Harrison have talked about that.
Really?
I always preferred the way the Gentiles mourn the dead than the Jews. You-
Why? See, I prefer the way the Jews do it because it's very like, we have a week, and then after that, the show must go on. Whereas the Gentiles are like, you can go to therapy for 2 years if this is going to help you get over it. It's like, no, you've got to get over it. Death happens.
you know what it is? It's the way. I guess I admire the way the Irish do it in particular. When I'm talking to Gentiles, I'm talking about the Irish because the Jews they sit shiva. There's no alcohol. You're
Well,
sitting.
that's shit. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
They bring you food, like there's good like lox and bagels, Jew food, that kind of thing, and you have to sit there and deal with your grieving family and relatives and close friends of the deceased for a fucking week. You know, they got the fucking windows, like the mirrors covered with blankets so the ghosts don't escape, you know, or the ghosts don't come through. I don't know exactly why that is. And it's just really somber, it's solemn, and it sucks. Yeah, it's no, it's sitting Shiva sucks. Like I remember I've
Is
had to
the
do it.
food good though? Come on, the food must be good.
I love the food. It's like bagels, lox, and you know all the Jew
Yeah, it's
food.
like a week long of eating all the best food, but then you get on with your life.
And people bring you food and things like that. Whereas I like the way the Irish do it. The Irish are like, let's just have a fucking wake and get wasted, get shit pissed drunk,
Well,
and tell.
the Brits all do that, mate. That
Okay,
was like my dad's week was like that.
that's the way it should be. You should remember. You should get back and like the stories. That's the other thing too. The stories don't have to be special like memorable moments where and like and positive moments in this
Right.
person's life. You know the thing is like Harrison used to say this. Harrison said he hated when people died and suddenly they achieved sainthood. You know
Yeah, I
he's like
remember that.
I'm a saint.
I remember that on the Patreon when Amy Nicole died, and he spent that whole episode just saying how much he hated it. Because like we all die, it doesn't make us any better than anyone else.
It's suddenly people just kind of achieve like become fucking Mahatma Gandhi or something. It's like all of a sudden they're like, achieve sainthood. And that's not the way it should be. You should remember the person for who they were and the impact they had on your life. And that's kind of what we're going to do here today with Harrison because the man was no fucking saint. Come on.
No, and
but,
that's what was great about him.
but he was a fucking legend. And I'm going to drink
Yeah.
to him. We should all tip our glasses right now to Harrison P. Lovecraft. So yeah, this is gonna be a drunken mess of a show. I went through and I for this week and just kind of poured through like a lot of episodes. I mean, he was on the show for like 5 years, it's a long time. And
Yeah.
went through some of it was funny too because I was like clicking through episodes and just kind of randomly because I'm not going to listen to all this fucking I mean it's hours and hours of podcasting. But I
Well,
was
there
just
is
kind
a really whiny, nasally voice
yeah, oh my god.
that you have to listen to.
No, Harrison had an
Amazing
amazing
voice.
a baritone, deep voice. My voice, it's really hard to listen to.
It's
And I'm talking
chewy.
that for myself. It's so dewy, it's so nasally. I had to like skip through it because I'm like, I can't fucking stand the sound of my voice. But we got to like some of these phone calls, fucking hilarious. I was cracking up. Admittedly, I was a bit stoned, but I was cracking up, and I did pull out a lot of clips. Before we get started, I gotta say, people might notice my bling. I'm not wearing this in particular to Harrison, but I think Harrison enjoyed his bling. But thank you, Warwick Davis, for sending me this Jewish star encrusted with diamonds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Warwick, I love it. Amy Winehouse had a very similar one. So I'm just looking at you and pretending you're Amy Winehouse. But the Jewish version, the American Jewish version.
we are very similar. But yeah, it's
Well, you're both
funny.
Jews.
Warwick Davis reached out, and this is why I don't usually give my address out to fans. He reached out. He's like, "I got your gift. I want to send you." And I was like, "All right." And now he just sends random shit, just random things, and I just get it in the mail. And he'll just send me like a screenshot of like the tracking, be like, "You're gonna get this," and I'm like, "Oh, great. What am I gonna get now?" And usually, like, I expect booze, and I don't mind booze. Like, usually when people send me stuff, it's usually typically booze. I'm like,
Biz.
cool. But no, Warwick surprises me. So
That's
thank
a
you.
good gift. I really like it, Warwick. He's like my very own Paul Schneider now.
It's good. It's good. It's very fitting, I think. Um, so Harrison P. Lovecraft, from the first time I met that guy and when he started on the show, you realize this guy's a character. You don't meet too many people like Harrison. He's one of those unique personalities. I was thinking about this, who live to experience life rather than just endure the experience of living.
This picture is from the one of the first times you met him as well, isn't it?
No, this is later. Harrison, that's the only Halloween outfit.
Halloween. He rocked his Klaus Nomi, I must say.
However, I'm going to get to that in a second. Yeah, the first time I met him, I have this amazing clip. This is how I knew there was something
Right.
special with this guy, and that he was a character. Um, by definition, a libertine. So, after going through these old shows and these old clips and phone calls, I realized we made some really good fucking radio. We really did. I mean, you could say the same thing. Me and Lance said there's some great shows, there's some shitty shows, there's some, you know, decent shows. And same with me and Harrison. Some shows were great, some shows were dismal, but there were some really funny fucking moments. And and genuinely disturbing moments. There really were like some of the things. So some of these clips I'm going to play were like, wow, what the fuck? Like it's kind of crazy. But I appreciated this guy's just wit and unbridled creativity of Andrew Harrison. I got to, it was funny because I kind of revisited that listening to these clips. I'm like, some of the random things, quips and comments and things he would say. I'm like, where did he pull that from?
I think
And
Atheist Preacher put it kind of best on the Discord when he was talking about when Wackerly left, because Wackerly is very funny, but he's very like nerdy geek humor. And when Harrison came in, he kind of brought the occultism and like Satanism and all this like very random. Because I found like Harrison's Twitter, not his main Twitter, it's like a secret Twitter. And on it, it's just like all these like Lovecraft jokes that I could imagine him like walking around coming up with like just random, like just Lovecraft creature jokes. And I was like, only Harrison could come up with all of this. Like, who knows these creatures?
well, that's the thing. He took the show when Harrison's on. We took the show in a completely different direction. Like when we launched Sick and Wrong 2.0. I mean, that happens when you get new hosts, and some people like it, some people fuck off. It doesn't really matter. But we did take that. We changed the show. Harrison changed the show because because I was listening to it, like when me and Wackerly were on, it was definitely more like dark comedy. It was
Yeah.
it was it was more comedy and just it obviously not politically correct. And Wackerly was very negative, but in a different way that Harrison was negative.
Yes, Wackerly is negative.
And I'm kind of like, I'm like the radio DJ guy that's plans out the show and moves through the show. And sure, I may say something funny here and there, but it's good to have like a co-host that you play off with. Like you can you can play off each other, and we do that too. But it's different than the way me and Harrison did, and totally different than the way me and Wackerly did.
Yeah.
And that sounds like there's a show that's been going on this fucking long. There's generations of Sick and Wrong. There's the Wackerly years, the Harrison years, and there's the Kate Rambo years. So it's different. But the thing is with Harrison, what always impressed me with that guy is the amount of work he accomplished, considering his lifestyle. We all know what that guy was into.
We were
You know,
talking about that before, about because there are some I'll just use the terms. There are some junkies that achieve absolutely nothing with their life. There are some like Dee Dee Ramone that and
per-
like Burroughs, Jim Carroll,
yeah,
Lou Reed, Dave Bowie that can achieve all of this, and Harrison's somewhere in the middle. I mean, he did loads
he did.
considering.
He wrote several comic books, and they're all I think available. They might still be available on the Patreon. Several seasons of a couple YouTube series actually.
Yeah, polyester dreams.
Dreams, yeah, which like several series. Like I think they had 3 seasons of that show. That's up on YouTube. He did radio for years. I mean, not just on Sick and Wrong. He did a show here. He did a show, I think at WFMU in New Jersey or New York. Might be mistaken on that. He did a show at the Chinese radio station here in Chinatown.
Oh
When I
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great show. Like, I mean, because that's the thing. The guy was a wealth of music knowledge. I mean, both he and I. That was definitely one thing how we became friends is talking about music, exchanging music. Every time we'd record the show, we would usually listen to new records that we got. And then if you ever listen to like the outtakes back then, it was almost all like us bullshitting about like me bitching about my late
About
discog.
Discogs, yeah, I remember the Patreon back then. Painfully.
I mean, he was a huge fan of music, and I mean, the guy he was an exceptional banjo player. I don't know if anyone heard him ever play the banjo, but the guy was fucking good at playing the banjo.
There's video of him playing the banjo on his YouTube channel.
And I think this is the most surprising. Obviously, we didn't really publicize this information because we don't like to talk about where we work. But now I don't think it really fucking matters. But Harrison worked for Disney, writing children's stories, like children radio plays for Alexa, like on Frozen, on DuckTales, on whatever, Moana or whatever Disney program. He would write these scripts, and sometimes he would bring them in. I wish I had some actually, but he'd bring them in. I'd read them. They're fucking great. They were really good. They're really funny and weird. 'Cause you know how like that's the thing with like SpongeBob SquarePants and people that write for children's comedy. A lot of that shit is like bizarre and out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and like a lot of there's a lot of double entendres and things like that. And Harrison was he wrote genuinely funny and witty children's plays that were on Alexa, and I think that is just kind of that shows his bizarre dual existence.
I think he
And
has more than a dual existence. I think he was a man of many, many, many faces.
but what I'm saying is like just in terms of like his professional life and his personal life, it's so by day he would write children's stories for Disney. And then, and then after 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, drug parties with trans hookers, possible OD in a McDonald's parking lot. I mean, it's like, how many people do you know that are like that? Not many.
Not many. Even
Yeah.
William S. Burroughs didn't have a day job. He was sat at home writing.
I admire that about Harrison. I admire some of the stories. I admire just his perspective on life. Yes, it was dark, but I did like his perspective on life and some of the just strange situations that guy would get into. We're going to play some of these. So, how I met Harrison was through Lenora. And if you go back into like the first few episodes, I think actually I have a clip. So, Harrison started episode 501. That's when we launched Sick and Wrong 2.0. But he actually subbed a few shows prior to that, like in the 490s, when
Right.
Wackley took a break. So Harrison subbed a couple shows, and I think we talk about like how we met each other. But Lenora, or my friend Lenora, who's been on the show before, she actually met him on OkCupid. They went on a date, and it was like one of those disaster dates that turned into a lifelong friendship. You know,
Sometimes that works though, doesn't it? I think that's really funny because Lenora like doesn't drink or take drugs and she's going on a date with Harrison.
they went. I believe they went to the Dresden. I don't remember. It was
Oh,
something like
right, right.
I think it was Dresden. They were like drinking. And she said within like the first 15 minutes, he was talking about getting chased by pimps in Prague and getting heroin while he was working there as a PA on some film. And he was just like, and there's these hookers and all this. And she was just like, okay, we're
This
not
is
going to date,
yeah.
but you're going to be a really good friend of mine. And so then I remember she called me afterwards. I've known her for a long time. And she called me and she knew that Wackerly, because I told her that Wackerly was thinking of leaving the show. And it was just done. I mean, fucking did it
10
for 10.
years.
Well, they understand that, believe me.
Yeah. He wanted to
Um,
get married. He wanted to have some dogs.
yeah, he got married. And I think it was just like, I'll come on the podcast every now and then, but I'm just done doing it on a weekly basis. Takes a lot out of you. So I remember telling her about this. She's like, I think I might have the perfect co-host for you, like replacement host. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, this guy did radio. He's got a great radio voice. She's like, and he's a unique personality with some really fucked up weird stories. Perfect for your fucked up podcast. And I was just like, all right. And so I had him on, and the rest is history. But so I remember like when he first started, and I'm going to play some clips from in a second here. We were pretty good friends in the beginning, and I mean it was difficult because Harrison obviously had a very mercurial disposition, and I mean I have a lot of friends like that, and I've known a lot of people in my life like that, especially people that tend to use drugs, heavily. It's like you never know the person you're going to be hanging out with. And I think that's kind of what happened with Harrison. It's like we'd hang out and then he'd flake. And then I think after a while, I was just like, yeah, let's hang out when we do the podcast. And that's usually kind of what it became. I mean, every
I
now
think
and then.
anyone who's ever had a junkie friend though does know what it's like. Like you can't count on them. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think part of it was, he had his priorities. He lived his life according to his own rules. That's what I'm saying. It's like
Well, yeah, I mean, it's junkie time all the time.
he wasn't it. I wouldn't say when you say junkie, it implies that that's all he did.
No,
He
I know
did,
he did more than that, but it's just like the way of saying it. It's like William S. Burroughs was a junkie for life.
and he
D.D.
was
Ramone was a junkie for life. It's just
full
like when
time.
it's in you, it is in you.
It is. I mean, there's a certain lifestyle that you lead when you do that. But I mean, we went to some. I remember in the first few years when he was doing Sick and Wrong. Um, God, we went to some crazy after parties. That guy always seemed to know. And I think some fans might even know what I'm talking about because we went out to like weird after parties, like in Thai town, in like a Thai restaurant at like 4 in the morning. In the back of this Thai restaurant was like,
A
there were like
card game.
poker, yeah, and like cocaine everywhere, and it was just like I was like, how do you know these people? And I knew some after parties too from friends. Me and Harrison would usually go out and yeah, rage. And we went to a lot of shows in the beginning, but then he kind of stopped going to shows. I don't know. He didn't enjoy them going in public out in public as much. I think there are different periods of time. Like sometimes you'd be like, yeah, let's go to shows, let's go out to bars, and then other times it's like I'm not leaving my house. And I think that's kind of just is evidence of his mercurial disposition that he had. I think that's a good term for it. But I remember one of the first times we hung out. This is probably, God, 5 or 6 years ago. It was Halloween. He had just started the show. I think he'd been on the show for like maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks at that point. Yeah, probably like 3 weeks. And this is when I knew Harrison was a special person.
It's
You know,
bad.
a unique character. So he used to dress, and you can show the picture that we had before. He used to dress up as Klaus Nomi. And that was bizarre. But his costume as Klaus Nomi was the best part. It's a fucking yoga mat. I mean, he must have made this thing in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. We're going out, and he was just like, let me put something together. And he like gets his yoga mat, and he like paints it, and then he like cut out, that's the bow tie. And then he put like white face paint on and shows up, and I'm like, holy
He
shit.
looks like Klaus Nomi. I'll give him
Totally.
that.
He
I
totally
can
did.
totally see. I always remember this picture on his Instagram where he was getting a signed picture from the Leprechaun from Leprechaun 3 out of his storage unit. His storage unit was like full to the brim of stuff. I could
I know.
just imagine him going in there and going, "I know I've got a yoga mat in here somewhere," and pulling it out like Harrison's ever done yoga in
Walked
his
down.
life.
I think he went down to Ross and just bought one, like right down the street, and then comes back. It's like, ah, man, here's my Halloween costume. I remember just like laughing. I'm like, oh my god, you look hilarious. And plus, who's gonna recognize him? The people that did recognize him, though, you knew were
Oh
cool.
my god, I would flip out if I saw somebody dressed as Klaus Nomi for Halloween. I'd be like, "This is the best Halloween costume ever."
That was the thing. Like we went to some party in like Echo Park or something. I don't know who. I don't actually to this day. I don't even remember who invited us. But we go to this party in Echo Park, and yeah, that's the thing. So most people like I'd say majority of people didn't know who he was, but the ones that did were like, "Holy shit, that's an amazing costume!" And so I remember the first thing when I got there, I was like, "We gotta find some booze." So I was like walking around trying to find, see where the beer was. And when I come back, they had a stage in this like in the living room, then a makeshift stage that they set up, and they're doing karaoke. And so when I come back, this is what I hear. This is
Okay.
amazing. Yeah, let me play this clip. This is Harrison um, doing his own version of "Wuthering Heights" by Kate Bush, dressed as Klaus Nomi.
It's me or Kathy, I don't know. So come home into your window. When it gets dark, it gets lonely on the other side from you.
So amazing. I remember just coming back and I was laughing so hard I was crying while videotaping it. So I'm going to post the video on
Yeah, I love
Facebook,
the video.
probably put it up on YouTube and Patreon and whatever. But
My only critique of it, if I had have been there, I'd have been like, Harrison, please, why didn't you do any of the dance moves? Harrison
he
would have
did
been great. No,
kind
he's
of.
not doing any of the window moves.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't doing like the Kate Bush dance when they were in a red dress,
That's
but
what
he
I
was
want to see Harrison doing.
doing the movements with his hands. Like
The
it's
sweeping
really fun.
movements. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was great.
oh God, I found that the other day and I sent it to Lenora and his friend Jarrett, and I was just laughing. It was like, God, this is amazing. That was the day I knew I was like, holy shit, this guy's gonna be the new co-host. Like there's something very special about this dude. So let me get to a couple phone calls here. This first call is from this is actually a very heartfelt call, and it's long. It's kind of long, but whatever. I mean, we don't really have. This is a
Yeah,
free for all podcast. It's a special episode of Sick and
it's
Wrong.
just stop staying special.
Especially. It's a special. This girl is named Catherine. She was a girl that Harrison met in Glasgow, comedian, and I guess he was doing stand up at some comedy club in Glasgow. I think a fan actually, a listener, set him up with it, and I guess he caught her set,
Yes,
and
bar, I would say. That's the best
yeah,
comedy club in Glasgow.
yeah, and then they ended up hanging out. So let me play this clip. She called in. She called in with a eulogy.
Hi. The people listening probably don't know me, but I met Harrison in a bar in Glasgow 5 years ago, and he was surrounded by these group of men who clearly wanted to have sex with him, and I'd never heard of him, never heard of a podcast, but I was like, I'm going to have sex with him because I was like,
Ew.
nothing to me, and it would have meant something to them. And from then on, we became friends and we talked and we traveled together and we visited each other. And we talked on the phone for like every 2 weeks for 3 years. And none of that would have been possible without the podcast. And I need to thank you all for that.
That is random. Like it's totally like he was in. I think it wasn't. I don't know if it was when. No, it wasn't when we did Fringe. I think he was just there visiting Glasgow. It might have been when we did Fringe. I'm not sure, but yeah, he just went to Glasgow and did a stand-up set, which I think is still online. Pretty funny, very and a demand like a commanding stage presence. But anyway, yeah, he did stand-up and hit it off with this girl, and they actually traveled together quite a few times.
One of the things that I feel like people don't quite understand is everything he did was in pursuit of happiness. Every aspect of him. The drugs, the mysticism, the sexcapades. It was all just to figure out how to be happy. I truly believe he thought that if he had the right cocktail of mushrooms and antidepressants and butt plugs that he'd found a formula into being happy.
That cures everything. Antidepressants and butt plugs.
I can attest to just the butt plugs.
Yeah, there's a rest in peace Hecubus. There's Hecubus with Hecubus was a shoulder cat.
I know I'm very, you've mentioned that before. I am very jealous that you had a shoulder cat. My whole life, I've always wanted a shoulder cat. Just a cat that is always here, just hanging, like a little goblin as well.
Well, Hecubus loved Harrison because Harrison was, I don't know, like 6'3".
Really tall.
Yeah, so he loved him.
And being with him, it was kind of, you were embroiled in these schemes of emotional alchemy, and you just had to kind of ride with it. But he was stubborn. He was stubborn. He would lead himself to water he used to drink.
Leo.
I could see that.
And
He's a Leo.
he knew what made him happy, and he told me as such, and that was to entertain people. And he did it in New York for years before he did a podcast, and he, ended up writing for things before he died, and he was so good at it. I used to send him off on these exhibitions. I used to call it his used car salesman bits, and I would send him off to like a guy in a bookshop or a waitress or something, and just sit back and watch these people be hit with this laser beam of charm and charisma, and it was just incredible to watch. I loved watching him do that. But I don't.
That was one thing I always appreciated about Harrison. I completely agree with, is when he would meet like fans or friends, because I think there was definitely a character that he had on, but it was like when he was when he was himself. it was amazing to see the interaction and the reactions of a lot of different people that met him because they're just like, holy shit. But you never knew because sometimes he could be in a completely different mood. But then there were other times, like I think there's a listener that commented, this Scottish guy who came here with his family, and he came and met us at Jumbo's, and Harrison hated Jumbo's, but
Really? I thought Harrison would have loved Jumbo. He's such an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a vest. That is Harrison.
yeah, he hated Jumbo's. I think just because he'd been there so many times, and I can understand that. It gets a little boring, overdone after a time, and sometimes like it also became very hip. So maybe that's what turned him off. But anyway, we met up with this. He met up with me and the Scottish guy at Harvard Stone, and we got wasted. Wasted. This Scottish guy was super wasted. I had to get up early for work, so I left. And Harrison ended up like helping this guy get home back to his family. The guy was so drunk he couldn't even like walk. I think he even got sick at the bar because I think they kicked him out. And Harrison
Oh,
like helped him
we've
get
all
back
been there.
to the hotel. I know, but it just shows you the kind of person he is. I mean, people have this perception of who Harrison was, and he was many different things to many different people.
Man
But
of many faces.
but the one thing he did do is he definitely entertained. So it was funny.
I think he truly believed he deserved something that would routinely make him happy, that he could count on. I think he struggled with that concept a lot in his life. And I was trying to think of a story that would summarize all the bits of him that I loved. And it was a story when I went to LA to see him, and we were driving down the street, and I was saying how much it looked like Grand Theft Auto. And then he
You're
started.
going to see that, Kate, when you visit. It is. You'll be like, oh, I know these places. I recognize that restaurant.
Yeah, from San Andreas. I've already said this to you a million times. I'm like, I've driven down these roads.
But you're gonna have that same feeling of deja vu when you're here.
We need reinforcements from the cafe.
Like going like 60, 70 miles per hour through this residential street, weaving in and out of parked cars, and we were scream singing DMX's "X Gonna Give It to You," and it was stupid and dangerous and lacked any sense of self-preservation.
Harrison.
But he did it to make me giggle, to make me smile, and that was him. And I don't believe in an afterlife or spirits or souls, but he will haunt me forever. And I hope he haunts you too.
Thanks, Catherine, for that. That was good.
That
It's
was
long.
great.
It was
That
really,
was perfect.
really
She
good.
summed up Harrison so perfectly.
She definitely knew. I mean, she knew him pretty well. Um, yeah, that's funny. I got to say, I have driven with that guy, and it was you're taking your life into your own
Is
hands.
he worse than you? Are you
Yeah.
saying that?
Yes, and he was a scary driver. He definitely was. Do you remember? People might remember. God, it was when I lived in K Town. He was like, I don't know how he did it, but he like somehow like backed into the iron gate in our driveway and broke the gate, and it was like stuck, and it started making this like people remember the episode, but it
I
started making
remember this story.
siren
Yeah.
sound, and like the Korean landlords that didn't speak any English were just like sitting there trying to figure it out, and he was freaking out. And his car, like he had a Charger, yeah, I think, or Challenger, Dodge Challenger, but it was all banged up
Cool.
and scratched up. Yeah, it was a cool car, but yeah, you're taking your life into your own hands. So I can kind of see that. All right,
Wow, I
let's play.
can't believe that's you saying it. I'm telling your sister about that.
Well, no, I'm a scary driver, but I'm not like I don't hit things. Put it that way. I'm gonna knock on wood, but I don't typically hit things. Here's another call from Evil Bunny.
Hey, Dee. Hi, Kate. It's Allison. Evil Bunny Allison. Allison in Rhode Island. I just want to send in a little tribute for Harrison. And so I want to say that I'm a latecomer to the podcast, and it was actually Harrison's connection with Rhode Island that brought me into it, for which I am thankful to him. And I had been hunting around for podcasts, and I I listened to it, and there was this weird Rhode Island connection, and I could kind of hear it in his accent, and I thought, this is just crazy. Nobody's from Rhode Island. Anyway, I was really sorry to hear about his death, and I just want to say that sometimes in life you come across these really highly creative, madcap, interesting people, and Harrison was definitely one of those. And I'm sad to say that those people generally don't last too long on this planet. They
True
oftentimes
that.
It's
pass
unfortunate, but
away,
it's very true.
and we should be glad that we met them because they made us think a little differently about things. And I'm glad he was part of the show, and wherever he is, and or not, or whatever, I hope he's hanging out with Sid Barrett, and I think Sid Barrett's really one of my favorite people, and hopefully he's with
Your
rest now.
connection's a little bad
I
there.
don't think he rested too much during his life on this planet. Anyway, R.I.P. Harrison. It's very sad, but glad to have been an acquaintance in this life. So keep it sick, keep it wrong, and best to you guys as always. And call back later. Bye.
I love
Thank
Evil Bunny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Evil Bunny's great. A couple of emails. Maybe Kate, you want to read out a couple of emails?
Yeah, I am. I'm getting free sheets to the wind, as they say. Might sober me up. So we've got the first one, which came from Bridget, which says, "Sorry to hear about Harrison. Keep it sick and wrong. Life is short, death is long. So let's pour one out and rip the bong." I like that. Uh, she's somebody who I was like would watch Dead Bug Says. This comes from Colin, which is a very British name, Colin. "Hey Dee, I hope that you're doing okay. I never got the chance to meet Harrison, but I feel that I owe you both for all the hours that you've kept me sane while I was working or in school. Honestly, have felt worse about this than a lot of people who I actually have met and lost. I'm sure your inbox is flooded, so I'm not expecting a reply. I just wanted to let you know how big of an impact the work you guys did has had on me." Another one, this came from Hugh. He sent it on Facebook and he says, "Mate, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm thinking of you and Kate. Harrison was definitely one of a kind. I'm listening to his first episode right now and I'm raising a glass in his honor. Take care, mate. You guys are wonderful human beings who bring a ray of sunshine to us degenerates."
I think that's the reason why we keep doing the show week in, week out. Um, it's funny to describe Harrison as bringing a ray of sunshine.
Yeah, I think Harrison would fucking hate to be described as that.
But he was listening to the first episode that Harrison was on. So I'm going to play a couple clips here. So this is one where Harrison was filling in for Wackerly. So this is before he actually officially was on the show. But this is great. So he was talking about being actually, remember who he was a process server? Do you remember this?
I do, because he had a lot of cool stories from his time process serving.
Yeah, weird job. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play a bit of it. Good evening. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world's source for antisocial commentary.
God, I hate that
I'm your
voice.
host tonight, D. Simon. Wackerly is on vacation this week. Yeah, believe it or not, some people can afford to take a vacation, while other people can't. Not going to name any names here.
Are you having a wine there, D?
I am not even
bitching.
envious of Wackerly's vacation right now. He has to go with the wife's family to like some remote cabin in Montana.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's terrible. That voice you just heard over there is Harrison filling in tonight. Andrew Harrison. I gotta.
I can't remember his name. The easiest name in the world to remember.
When I first met him, it was Andrew. Like I was introduced to him as Andrew, so I'd call him Andrew. But then it's like, no, wait, it's Harrison. You know, it's not.
I was actually talking about that with Evil Bunny the other day because Harrison is the least likely person to look like an Andrew. You would never look at him and be like, "Oh, he looks just like an Andrew," but he's a perfect Harrison.
Yeah, well, I think he mostly went by Harrison. But,
Yeah, because he doesn't suit the name Andrew. He suits
it
Harrison.
took me a while from the beginning. I just knew him as Andrew because we used to hang out, and then, so I was like, oh, yeah, gotta call him Harrison. a few times with that. You were on the show a few weeks ago. We were talking about comics.
Yes.
You're my
indeed.
neighbor. You're a processor, and you're filling in tonight. Thank you for doing that.
I'm a process server.
A process server.
Yeah.
Yeah, processor would be like a word
processor,
processor.
Yeah, or like if
Yeah.
I process cheese and meats.
Yeah, you're not. You're a process server. That's what you are. Harrison is your DJ name because you also did radio for many years.
Yes, I did.
You have a way better radio voice than I do.
Why? Thank you.
Yeah, you do. It's got that kind of baritone. I got that like nasally, whiny Jew voice. I do.
Coming up on the hour, it's Norman Greenbaum with Spirit in the Sky.
Isn't that perfect?
Yeah.
Okay, this same show. This is a little bit later. Let me skip ahead. So Harrison was a process server, but you might recall, I used to love his stories about this guy, Jelly Bean. Do you remember this guy?
Yeah, I remember him talking about Jelly Bean.
So Jelly Bean was this like, and there's a lot of people like this in LA. He's a trust funder. His family, I believe, I might be mistaken, but I believe he was like oil money, like oil family, like one of those rich LA families, like the Gettys or something like that. But he was, I mean, crazy rich. And so I know he like had a massive trust fund. I don't recall how Harrison met him, but Harrison became like his assistant somehow. And so this story here of him telling about this is like so classic Harrison. He hadn't even joined the show, but he was like arranging an orgy for this Jelly Belly or whatever the guy's name was.
Jelly Bean.
Not just like a pansexual gangbang.
What do you mean
Pansexual
like
gangbang.
men,
Just
women,
men, women,
dwarves?
everybody's fucking everybody. No
So
dwarves.
like he wanted you to set up an orgy.
Yeah, basically.
Where? What are the logistics here?
You know, that was never clear. I had started sort of trying to find people for this to set up this thing, to schedule this.
I mean, do you do that kind of thing? Like if on a short notice, you can just go out and call some people. Hey, we're having a big get together at my house. Like,
no,
you know people that just come over and start fucking.
I don't. But there's the internet.
He totally does.
He totally does because he's doing it too.
He's got like some people on speed dial.
Yeah, he's probably like, you mean like me?
Bobby Joe and Diana and like let's get the whole crew.
Bobby Joe. He's from Trailer Bar.
Is he hiring like porn stars?
No, he was just like, do it. And I was just going to, get some hookers on the internet. And
Okay, so he was going to pay these people.
yeah, he was going to pay them. Yeah.
Was he videotaping it? Was this like so to put on the internet? Like, was he making a porn?
I don't really think he could get his shit together enough to like get a video camera and not lose it and turn it on.
Where was it going to be? At his house, or did he run a venue?
He'd probably get a motel room or something.
That
or
makes
a hotel
sense.
room or God knows what.
Did you get the hint or the idea, the impression that he's done this before?
I get the impression that he's done it before. I also got the impression that I'm not sure how much money he actually has access to, because any sane person would not give him access to any money.
Yeah, he probably, what probably happens? He probably has to call somebody and like the trustee of the will like gives him out an allowance.
An allowance, yeah. Because yeah, I mean,
I highly doubt he has free access to all the millions of dollars that are in his trust.
Think how much
money
I'm not
this guy
exactly a
had.
Mormon. I'm a decadent person, right? But
Yeah,
this guy,
Mr. Fetlife over here.
yeah, this guy. I am a Mormon.
So
compared to this guy.
did you actually get any hookers to come over to a hotel, or were you just like, fuck this, I'm done?
I started like emailing people, and I started setting it up, and then
What do you say in an email? Like, hey, we're having this little get
Yeah,
together.
you just,
don't bring any clothes. You don't need them, but bring some condoms.
Yeah, they know. They're
Okay.
professionals, They know what's
Professionals.
going on.
Bring your butt plug. What was the clam to ham ratio?
There was supposed to be at least one guy, because he wanted to like get fucked as well as fuck.
Oh. Pretty amazing.
I
Yeah.
like how serious he is throughout it all. He's like, this is just a regular day for me.
Yeah, he never ended up actually. I don't think he ever ended up actually scheduling it. Here's a clip from his first episode. So people, that was episode 496. That I think might have been the
Right.
first time he'd actually subbed the show. I think he was on before one time talking about his comics. But this is actually the first show he ever did, the launch of Stick Around 2.0. Good evening, and welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world's source for antisocial commentary. I'm your host, E. Simon. This is Sick and Wrong 2.0. That's right, Sick and Wrong did not really die. Lance Wackley did retire. He's moved on to bigger and better things. I actually heard from my sister that Lance Wackley has a dog now, a dog named Wayne. And you know what the dog is? A dog is a precursor to a child. I think Wackley is moving on to the next level of life. He doesn't need this juvenile distraction known as podcasting. It's true.
So, we have a new show going on with a new co-host. And, I'd like to introduce a new co-host, Harrison, here in the studio.
Hey.
What's up there, Harrison?
Hey.
Host of Sick and Wrong.
Not too much. I didn't know Lance got a dog.
Yeah, you know, he doesn't talk to me really anymore. Now that we don't do the show, we don't talk. And I found out this secondhand through my sister. She sent me a picture. She's like, I'm at Wackerly's house. Check it out. He's got a dog. Like a puppy.
A dog.
You know, you'll either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself treat pets like children.
I think that's one of the most memorable quotes.
I was also on his secret Twitter. So he must have tweeted that after he'd done that show. He must have been, that is my favorite quote from that episode.
That's what I'm saying. It's like these like the quick wit. Like you never knew what that guy was going to say.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah, he's way quicker on his feet than I am.
Like a Pez dispenser filled with Thorazine. Like that's like something like Harrison would say. And I think a lot of people really appreciated that kind of humor.
I definitely did. He was very like James Elroy in like his type of way as well. He's got that 1950s detective feel to him.
He does kind of. It's almost like a transatlantic act. He could do that really well. He was actually, that's another thing. He was great with accents.
Right. I want to start a competition here. Who's better at the accents, me or Harrison?
Well, you can't do all the American accents. Like you can do a Bostonian accent.
If I watch The Departed, I can. The Departed.
Harrison was really good, like that transatlantic.
Yeah, but he's from that part of the world, so that isn't easy.
New York accent and things like that.
I can do New York, honey. You got a beautiful baby there.
You definitely do a better English accent, I would say. But the one thing I think people remember Harrison, I guess one of the things that I think is most memorable about Harrison is the way he's saying the headlines.
Oh, here it comes. Are we going to start playing the jingles?
Yeah, so, that listener, what's his name, B-Boy or something? I forget. Or 8-Bit B-Boy, something like that. He made a supercut.
Everyone has been asking for these.
Yeah, of all of Harrison's jingles. And, I mean, we played them on the show. And I was listening to him again, after hearing the news about Harrison. And I was cracking up. It was really funny. So let's play a few of these.
I am a man accused of holding woman captive, forcing her to watch Roots to understand her racism. All right, I am a man accused of holding a woman captive, forcing her to watch Roots to understand her racism.
That sounds like an effective technique. You're going to watch Roots.
I'm going to staple you to a table, and you're going to watch that movie. Die in a suitcase, die in a suitcase, die in a suitcase, die. Woman allegedly killed boyfriend by zipping him in suitcase. Woman allegedly killed boyfriend by zipping him in suitcase.
This could be a Nine Inch Nails song. It sounds like it. Huh. I'm like, huh.
I got a story. Have I got a story for you?
All right.
My God.
All right.
Okay. Since 95-year-old brother.
He had a hell of a falsetto.
Killing, they've called it a life goal.
All right, one more.
Okay.
Plot to kill. We had sex, then she asked me to murder her ex. Her former husband has revealed how she told him about her murderous plans as she lay in his arms after sex.
Peculiar post-coital conversation.
We had sex, then she asked me to murder her.
X.
I'm gonna post the supercut on. It's on YouTube. I mean, if you go to the Sick and Wrong YouTube channel, you can see it. But I'll post it to Patreon. I think it's also public post on Patreon and Facebook. But they're first of all, the guy who remixed this
He's talented.
exceptionally talented. But the way he captured Harrison's intonation and just his style of singing, it was remarkable. Really funny though, and I think a lot of it was funny because he was so polarizing with the headline jingle. Some people fucking hated it, like something like
Oh
Joe
yeah.
hated the headline jingles. He would like skip through it because he didn't want to hear it because it pissed him off. Whereas other people lived for that, like they were waiting with bated breath to hear what Harrison was going to sing.
I liked how Harrison hated doing it, but then it became part of his like trope, so he had to do it. It was like his shtick. It's like how Elvis was like, "I don't want to sing Hound Dog at the age of 40," and guess what, Elvis, you're singing fucking Hound Dog. Get on the stage, buddy.
So I have a few phone calls that we did on some episodes. So let me see here. These were a couple moments. I seriously, people, I didn't know, what there were a couple episodes I knew about that I was like targeting, but a lot of these were just random. Like I was sitting there on like Wednesday and Thursday, getting stoned and listening to music, and then I was like, all right, let's get some phone calls. And I just kind of randomly just picked through on our SoundCloud, and so some of these were amazing. This one's really funny. This is what is it? Episode 599, UK sex story. Typical UK sex story. That is a very typical UK sex story. I think a lot of our UK listeners could relate to this sex story because it's probably something they experience on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Now then, boys. Stu calling from Manchester, UK. Long time listener, and I can genuinely.
Wait, this isn't Stuart. I don't know if this
Are
is
you
our...
about to say Stuart Waskey? Because in no way whatsoever have they got anything similar accents, D.
All
This
right,
is
all
a
right.
Manchester accent. What your knowledge of the UK is shocking.
No.
Shocking.
Your country's like the size of fucking Michigan.
Well, you should know it really well then, shouldn't you?
Say I've been listening since around episode 50. Not 100%, but I have listened to a great big slice, so I feel myself qualified to.
Do you think this guy, when he gets really drunk, starts screaming Wonderwall? Like singing at the top of his lungs, and his wife gets all pissed off. Just shut up! I fucking hate that bloody song.
Yeah.
My English
I think
accent was
so.
just as good back then.
Comment on the show. I've got a good headline. I've got a good line for you. Tombstone, Harrison.
Baby, you're gonna be the one that saves me.
Shut up!
Yeah.
Harrison, he was a good bloke, quite funny, just not wackily, and that isn't your fault. But D, just a little.
I'm sure Harrison would want that on his tombstone.
Just not wackily. Here lies Harrison. He just wasn't wackily.
You're a good bloke, but you're just not wackerly. But that kind of showed, it was really funny about that too, because when Harrison took over, there's a lot of just the haters came out. All the haters. Same deal when you took over.
Do you know what? I'm gonna totally put on my tombstone. I stopped listening the day Harrison left. It's like a George Jones song. I stopped listening the day Harrison
I
left.
think yours would be like, Kate Rambo, she's a good slag, just not Wackerly or Harrison.
Can't stand these female voices. Bring back the boys.
But what was funny about it, you had all these haters that listened to the show for a long time, and they would ring in and be like, fuck Harrison, he's not Wackerly. Wackerly's way better. It's just like, shut up. And Harrison bit his tongue for like a year. He didn't say anything. And after a year, he's like, fuck you. Yeah, I mean, there's a turning point where he's just
Harrison was mean to some
like,
fans.
lost patience with it completely. Like it was a year of podcasting until he was like, fuck you. But anyway, that's funny.
Heads up for you. You know, streetwise as you like to let on, and sometimes you sound like a retard.
I do.
You're all right.
I fully
I
admit
suppose,
that.
for a tattoo Jew.
See, this is constructive criticism.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Other
yeah,
people
yeah.
should.
I've got a quick story for you to beat the daft clever who rang in with his mate's story to speak in first person and tell you the story.
Is it another one of those things where he's telling someone else's story through the?
I think he's prefacing by saying, yeah, this is one of my mates, but I'm going to
Okay.
do it in first person, but it's
Okay.
him. This happened to him.
Okay.
Totally
Guaranteed.
did.
Jesus Christ. Everybody's Christopher Nolan calling in with these storytelling techniques.
Had a bird on one night. It was going to go down on her. To get hold of her feet to pull her forward. She'd been to the toilet previously. Yeah, I grab her ankles, scooch her forward on the bed to get her to the edge of the bed so I can kneel down in front of her. As I do that, I see behind.
Can you scooch forward, love?
I'm sure this guy's an expert at cunnilingus.
Yeah.
And the longest skid mark from the pillow end.
Oh, come on.
And she'd laid a fresh skid mark. I couldn't contain myself. I began to laugh. She looked behind, saw what she'd done, and left. And I still haven't spoke to her to this day. Cheers. I'm going to say keep up the good work. Harrison, top yourself. You just not Wackerly.
Harrison, what yourself?
Toss yourself?
Okay.
Top yourself.
Wait, what did you say? Top yourself?
Top yourself. Do you know what that means?
No, I thought you said toss.
No, top yourself. It means kill yourself.
Jesus Christ. That's what I'm saying. There were so many haters in the beginning, but then they grew to love him, and you could see that. You know, I mean,
you can definitely see that.
I'm not going to be able to play all the phone calls we got, but that way. I'm going to play some on the second show, which will be public, but we're going to probably do the overflow. But anyway, this is funny. Listen to what Harrison said.
Right.
I
Thank
bet you this guy
Yeah.
still would have boned her.
Yeah, I think probably.
I mean, if she didn't freak out about the skid mark, I bet you he still would have boned her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was laughing.
Crazy that would happen. So the girl went and used the shitter, took a shit at his house.
Yeah.
Didn't she wipe her ass? Like, have you ever done that before having sex with a dude? Just drop the log?
Why do you think I would have done that? Why do you think I specifically would have done something like that?
I'm just saying, if you had to shit, would you just not go to the guy's house? Like,
Can you remember there's that urban myth about the girl who really had to take a shit and she's on a date at his house and the toilet doesn't work, so she picks out her turd and puts it in like her bag and then it's in her bag all night. Yeah, it's that urban myth. No, it's never happened to me, D. Ever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm sure this has happened a lot in the north of England.
If I know I'm going to get head that night off a bloke, well, sometimes it happens so you meet somebody in the pub and then you get head, but you can be drunk and you don't give a shit. But if I know I'm going to get head that night, then I probably won't shit all day in anxiety because I'm going to get head. You know what I mean?
At the bar, though, and you got to shit, would you like shit at the bar?
I
rather than
have
bathroom?
fears about shitting in public. So if I can avoid shitting in public, my body just like clams up. I just like tighten up like a
I just
clam.
think it's funny that she's just like, I'll be right back. I've got to use the toilet.
The lavatory. Excuse me, sir. Can you point me to your WC?
You know, she was probably wasted too. Forgot to wipe her ass.
Probably. I mean, he's a good spot though. He's laughing about it. So to me, that shows that he doesn't necessarily care.
Maybe not enough.
You know, some girls
Sometimes you got to do it like a lot.
Some girls wipe back to front though, and that can cause some complications.
You can't. Nobody does that. Get out of here.
No. I'm so fucking retarded. I really
That's
am.
how fresh happens though. Some girls do wipe back to front.
Way. I've never met a girl that wiped back to front.
Some girls fucking do because they're like miseducated, and that's how fresh. That's how you get fresh.
Take it from K Rambo. Do
I've never
not
had fresh.
wipe front.
I've had a multitude of STDs and abortions, but I've never had fresh.
This guy,
Yeah.
he'd probably drank enough fucking wife beaters that he wouldn't have given a shit.
Yeah.
He'd been like, you know,
Literally.
it's right next to my skid mark.
Well, once we beta test the speculus, we should really have a better idea on how this stuff works.
Would you have cared if that happened to you?
You know what? I might have been like, hey, you know, maybe let's do this another time.
Would it-
As if he would have.
So, I mean, would you have hung out with her again? Would you have made her leave? Would you have changed the sheets? Like,
Is
what
it
would
my
you...
house?
Yeah, like let's say
Oh.
you brought a bird back to your house.
Okay.
You're about to go down on her. You slide
Depends
her
on
over.
if she's cool, you know? If she's cool, I'll
She just
you know.
fucking left a skid mark in your bed. How cool could she be?
She could be kind of cool. You don't know. You know?
What if she was
Happens
just
to the
like,
best of
that's
us.
fucking punk rock.
I mean, some chicks are
Shit
just
mark.
fucking drunk a lot, you know? And that kind of shit happens.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, would
Yeah.
you be willing to let it go and just kind of be like, all right, that happens, shit happens. Let's go have sex on the couch.
Not that evening. No. It's over for that evening, you know?
I would not. I would have been laughing, and that would
Yeah.
have been like, that's fucking gross.
Yeah.
I need to go have a shot and probably smoke some weed.
Yeah. I would not be, I probably wouldn't be laughing. I'd probably be like,
I would have been
I
laughing at a
wash my
shot.
sheets like once a month, lady. You know what I mean? You're fucking up my whole schedule now.
Yeah, but would you, if I knew I was going to get a girl home, I probably would have washed my sheets that day.
Right.
So I
No,
would've
that's
been-
true. I would have done that. Yeah, you're
I
right.
probably would have. So funny. I got another call. Well, I got another couple clips, but let's play some phone calls. Not sure how we're doing on time here, but
Oh,
you
who
call-
cares?
Okay, all right. You know who? Yeah, it might be a super long episode. Who called in with actually a very poignant message? Glasgow Greg. Difficult to understand.
Oh,
Also,
well-
not he's a relatively recent listener of to the show, but he like wrote a poem for Harrison. So let me play this.
Hey, second wrong. Glasgow Greg here. Just phoning in to offer my deepest sympathies to Harrison and all his family and
I gotta say, I love the way the Scots pronounce Harrison. Harrison.
Harrison. Oh, you,
Yeah, I love
you
the
did
way
it
that-
then.
They rolled the R's. I think it's
friends and well, everybody that knew the guy. I really didn't get much involved in the show when Dee and Harrison were doing it. Well, obviously because they wouldn't fucking understand me. But the guy had
It is nice to have a translator for the Scottish people.
he had obvious intelligence. An awesome fucking radio voice, man. You know, it's just real fucking sad. So I penned a little something for him here. Dust and ash will ever last, with no memory of the past. Present conscience is a shackle, a lifelong sentence you'll have to tackle. A painful existence you shall undertake, afore you're undertaken to my gate. Empires divide, worlds evolved, dust and ash will remain when this earth dissolves. Sleep well, Harrison, son. I hope you light up the fucking skies wherever you go, my man. Keep it sick. Keep it wrong.
I like that one.
I
This
love
was-
that. So talented.
I was listening through the calls and I was like, wow, that one's actually pretty impressive. So thank you, Glasgow Greg, for that. Here's a long time listener of the show. I think he's listened for years. Good old Waxer. He calls in about Harrison.
Hey guys, this is Waxer. I just read the terrible news about Harrison. I am shocked, gutted. I can't think of words. He was a really great guy. I really found him really hilarious, and his super deep, dark humour was right up my street. I just don't know what to say. I'm sure all the UK listeners were all gutted right now. You know, so I will be raising a glass to him at some point this week. I've got nothing else to say, so it'll be sorely missed. Love all you guys. Dee, you and Kate, I hope you guys are really good. And yeah, I'm sorry that you had to share that news. All right, man, take it easy, peace.
A lot of people were gutted. You know, it was. I mean, it was. I was conflicted about like, oh God, I feel weird. I hate posting shit like that on social media, but it's the only way to really get the message out. You know, and I had been told a while ago. Like I was told probably couple weeks in advance. But then I was asked not to say anything about it, in respect to his family. Because I mean, it's a messy thing when people die. Believe me, I've had to deal with this.
Oh man, yeah, everything comes out, doesn't
It's
it? And you find
well,
out who your true friends are too.
it's very revelatory because about who this person was, and but also like what they've left behind. And that's the thing. Like I remember my fucking dad when he died. That took like over a month to fix all that shit and deal with his lawyer and like everything. It was very complicated. I was much younger when my mom died, but I mean even then that was also, it was a mess. And my friend Kessler, with uh, Andrew's friend, or Harrison's friend had to kind of deal with the same thing I had to do with Kessler. It's like go over to New York and deal with his some of his cleaning up of his house and things like that. And it's difficult. It is very trying. And I think when I announced it on Facebook, I mean, I was like, God, I hate sharing stuff like this on Facebook. But I was like genuinely overwhelmed by the response from everybody.
Yeah,
Actually made
I
me
was too.
yeah, and I screen capped and sent it to his friend Jared, and I hope his family, because that's the thing. Harrison's family was on the show. I mean, his sister was on the show. His biological dad was on the show. His biological brother, like his stepbrother, was on the show, and so I hope they got to see this and see how much he really was adored by our fans, listening audience. Let's.
I was gonna say before you continue on, I've got a message from Twisted Firestarter I wanted to read out.
Oh, I got a call from him too. Actually, let's
Oh,
do the message.
do you want the message? What if he just says the same thing though?
All right,
I
let's play
loved,
the.
yeah, play his call because I love Twisted Firestarter.
Yeah, Twisted Firestarter is he's another longtime listener. Going back to like the early episodes, I found like some of the early calls from Twisted Firestarter. That guy's been listening for years. He was a big fan of Harrison.
This is the Twisted Firestarter speaking. Rest in peace, Harrison. D, it's like you said. You always expect this day to come, but then it still shocks you when it does come. I'm not on your social medias and all that. So I first found out about it when you mentioned it on the podcast, and I listen to podcasts whilst I'm out driving my truck on my deliveries, and yeah, it actually put me in a bit of a bad mood for the rest of the day. And I don't normally give a shit about people when they die, but yeah, this one is a bit upsetting. I've been listening to the podcast since the late 400s, so Harrison's been my main co-host, really. He was actually...
Yeah, that was like the tail end of the Wackerly years, and Harrison took over like 501.
I've only been Harrison years. Sorry, Wackerly. I'm sure Wackerly's not listening, nor that he cares. I'm going to listen to the archives when I've finished From the Ville. Still haven't finished From the Ville, but I have a handful of episodes left.
Mental. I don't think I could ever listen to those again.
One who gave me the name Twisted Firestarter. I think when the first time I rang up, he called me Harry Potter, and I wasn't very impressed with that one, so I didn't latch on to it. And then the second time, he said that I sounded like the guy from The Prodigy, which did a bit of
Twisted
Firestarter. And I was like, okay, I'll have it then. Cheers, boy. I have got a request for a Harrison clip. I remember I can only really half remember it. I smoke a lot of weed, so I'm shot now. So I hope you know what I'm talking about. But I remember he went to some mountain or something somewhere where there was like a load of tunnels in there where the lizard people lived, and he conducted some incisive investigative journalism, and then capped it all off at the end with a trap song about the lizard people that he wrote and performed, just to prove that.
I remember it.
And D, if you're able to find this clip, I'd actually quite like to hear that song as Song of the Week. That's all I have to say. Goodbye, Harrison. I really enjoyed listening to your shit, and I'm genuinely sad that you're gone. Cheers.
Thank you there, Twisted Firestarter. I should have listened to this call and found that fucking song.
Yeah, because I was like, we've got to put his little alien rap in there where he's doing his whoop whoops.
Yeah, no, he did a few songs, and they might even be on our YouTube page. I should look for
The
it.
other thing I wanted, and I couldn't find it. I don't know if he deleted it or if it was on the Sick and Wrong, because he made a load of stuff private. Was when he went on his vision quest Remember, that's when he went on that, and that's when he decided he would move to LA. Was after this vision quest, and there
Is that
was
when
a
he did
short
ayahuasca?
video.
Is that when he did ayahuasca?
I think it was, yeah, but he was out in like he went with a bunch of like other hippie type people, and the guide like left them. I think it was like 72 hours outside, but they came back every day to meet up and make sure nobody had died.
He went on one, he went on a weird like ayahuasca trip, but then he did another one in the desert. I think that's what you're talking about. He was in the desert, I think like the Palm Desert over here, or something like that, Death
It was
Valley or something.
before he'd moved to LA.
Yeah, I think he went out there and he did this like with a group and trip. You know what's kind of funny? Just a quick aside. I was talking to Harrison's friend recently about everything, and he told me this is such a Harrison thing too. He said the last time well, not the last time he saw him, but it was like maybe a week before the final time he saw him. He's like he was in this great mood. And he was like, "Really? What's going on?" He was like, "I was just in." He's like, "I just went through a treatment with this witch in Santa Monica where she gave him like poisonous toad venom. And I guess it made him really sick for like 3 or 4 days. He stayed at her house, this witch's house, this Mexican, like a Mexican witch in Santa Monica, stayed at her house. And he said, I'm a new person now. And
That's how
like,
cults start, Harrison.
well, I mean, he probably could have been a good cult leader, actually.
Well,
But
you've definitely said that before, but I mean, he is now part of a cult because she'll be like, "Come back next time, and I'll heal you of more stuff." And then
well,
before you know it, they've got all your money.
but that's the thing. I think this guy was just on this endless quest to cure his depression and cure his demons.
Yeah,
rid
like
himself.
Catherine said, he just wanted to the
Just like
pursuit of pleasure, darling.
When he told me this, I was just like, God, I am not surprised that that dude went to a fucking witch in Santa Monica, poisoned himself with like toad venom, and then tripped his balls off for 3 days at her house. Like, not surprised at all. It's such a Harrison thing to do. Um, all right, where was I here? We got a couple more. Oh yeah, this is actually it's going to be a good lead in. So one of our favorite callers, me and Harrison, was FM.
And one
Fearful
of
Man.
mine, I love FM.
And so I'm going to play FM called in with a very heartfelt message to Harrison. Now, this is a great picture if you're watching a live stream. When we were in Edinburgh, we went out drinking during the day before the show. And I remember because I had been to Edinburgh before and I went to this like Frankenstein bar. People that live there in Scotland would know what I'm talking about. Like they actually have like a Frankenstein, like the Bride of Frankenstein set and she comes out in a coffin and like sits up. And I knew Harrison loved Frankenstein. Loved Frankenstein. That was like one of his. He loved classic like Universal monsters, but it was Frankenstein in particular that he liked a lot. And so we went to this bar and I got this cool picture of the giant Frankenstein and Harrison standing next to him like scared.
I think he probably enjoyed Frankenstein because they're both like really tall. That's as simple as it gets.
I think he identified with Frankenstein.
You know, that's one of the worst books I've ever read. It's so boring. Me and Harrison would have argued about this. It's so boring.
I love the story of Frankenstein, but
I like the story.
it's
We
pretty
all
good.
like the story, but have you ever read the book? It's fucking boring.
It's been years. Anyway, here's Fearful Mess calling in about Harrison.
Hello. This is FM calling in. I figured I would call in, especially when I heard the recent sad and tragic news about Harrison. I don't really know how to feel at this point. It's numb, and it's a hollow, I guess, kind of emptiness in the chest hearing about it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really going to miss him. Definitely. What I really am gonna miss about Harrison is that he was one of the first people that actually, I guess, gave me a chance, if you will. I can remember the fact that when I first saw Sick and Wrong, and I was going through most of my early days in college and not really caring, him and also UD were one of the first people to actually, I guess, get me to work up, the gutspa, if you will, to...
Is he saying chutzpah?
The chutzpah. I thought you said gospa. The chutzpah.
But it's true though, because I'm going to play a clip of his first call that I found,
Awesome.
and it is funny because I remember this clearly because Harrison and I were cracking up because it was really funny. But FM has changed quite a bit over the years of listening to the show, and I think Harrison was integral to that change. I mean, me too. I played a part, but Harrison was very supportive. Like, I'm kind of a dick, and I'll say, like, get a hooker, blah, blah. Like, I'll say stupid shit like that. But
Yeah,
Harrison,
you don't support FM like I feel like me and Harrison support FM.
I support FM, and I encourage his endeavors. And, and the fact that he's, like, overcoming his fears and intimidation of going out in public and things like that. But, I'm kind of, I have a very juvenile attitude, perspective towards life. Also, I say a lot of stupid jokes. But Harrison actually offered useful advice, like meaningful advice, because deep down inside, the guy cared about people. He really did.
Yeah, especially FM.
Force my voice and myself just out into the world instead of just keeping it in, like a lock and a key in a Coke bottle. And I guess it was fun to be able to have people, even if they were laughing, it was sort of like laughing, like you said earlier, laughing with you, not at. And it was a lot of good memories, like how you and Harrison would always give such wonderful advice, even if it was, I guess, half-tinged in comedy and things that I never really felt like I could even have 1/10 the courage to do. Or just being able to hear his little ditty that he gave for me when you guys decided to let me call in at the Christmas special.
Oh my God, do you remember that?
That was great. Yeah, I love that Christmas special in FM because one of the things I admire about FM is like I'm like me, you, Harrison are all no people. We say no. In fact, out of me, you, and Harrison, the person who's most likely to say yes is you. Me and Harrison would have been like, nah, I'm not doing that. Whereas you're more likely to be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do this. I'll go here. FM is yes to everything. He's a yes guy.
Especially now. But God, that was so funny though, because we called him up, and it was a very soft and warm moment because he was like so into.
He's so into all the holidays. Yeah. He is a yes guy for them. He decorates his house. He makes certain food. I mean, he's a great cook.
Yeah, he's a great cook. So he's super into it. But it's a very soft and warm holiday episode.
I guess I'm trying to make a long story short to say that I'm going to miss his type of morose comedy. He was also one of the people that got me deeper into things like Lovecraft or Lovecraftian things, especially finding out the fun fact that he named his cat after a slur that I will obviously not name on this phone call.
You should have said it, FM. You're allowed to say it.
Nevertheless, I just wanted to let it be known that he was one of the real ones, and I can probably tell you that he is going to be missed by me and hopefully by others, and that wherever he is and whatever he believes in, he can keep it sick and keep it wrong forever.
Well, drink to that there, FM.
Yeah, it was a great call. Thank you, FM. Brilliant.
Yeah. So anyway, I looked through some of the old episodes, and I found his first call. This is great. It's really funny.
Okay.
Replay it here. The first call is from a. He's a first-time caller here that likes the show.
Okay.
First time.
Hello, this is my first ever sick and wrong return. I figured I would try and make my first be a very sappy intro to my name's Eric, and I figured I'd just call to the podcast to say how
I forgot his name is Eric.
I appreciate the kind of...
God, who does this guy sound like?
I don't know, but I can tell that he uses a cigarette holder. I feel like.
I don't know.
He uses a cigarette. Yeah, he smokes with a cigarette holder after he takes his Thorazine.
I can tell that sound like John Cusack for some reason. It's probably not
John Cusack,
but maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
John Cusack uses a cigarette holder.
Content that you deliver, I'm nothing really special. I'm just a anxiety-riddled 23-year-old piece of shit with no real thing going on in his life. Never
Jesus, don't be so hard on yourself there,
Yeah.
John
No
Cusack.
real things going on.
Yeah, no, he's just an anxiety-ridden piece of shit.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Wild.
No, and I think he
Never
came to
really even
realize
smoked
that.
or did drugs or anything. Very.
Well, start.
Yeah, you're 20. You got plenty of time to smoke and do drugs, get
Yeah.
hookers, whatever.
Your 20s are for fucking off, you know?
You know, if you learned anything from this show, you should learn to. Yeah, here's some great advice from D. Simon, right here. Like I was listening to this, I'm like some great advice.
I agree with Harrison's. Your 20s are for fucking off.
Here's my advice.
Yeah.
At least until it becomes an issue, and then you have to stop. You're forced to stop, so you don't go to prison or lose your job or something. But
Yeah, no, it's like as you get older, you just have to stop stuff. So you might as well do stuff now.
Yeah,
you know?
Harrison.
Eventually, you won't even be able
Harrison.
to eat ice cream, you know?
I'm thinking it was like probably about maybe I was 17 when I realized that drugs.
It was a very good year.
Yeah, well, I think it was 17. Maybe 16, when I realized that drugs make or break my good time. When did you come to that conclusion?
What are you talking about?
If I didn't have drugs, it's done. I'm done. I don't even care. Like I'd
Oh, I
rather
see.
stay at home. And it's like I think I realized like drugs just make everything better. Yeah, and I think it was around 16.
You're saying that to Harrison.
A very healthy outlook on life.
Acquire
there.
them all the time. But yeah, there was a, you know.
There was a time when like I wouldn't go see a movie unless I was high.
I see.
Stoned.
I still won't go see a movie unless I'm high.
Yeah.
But I think it just became like I just did everything high. You know, I was high on something. And I just realized that. So and I was 17. So this guy's 23. Yeah, sure, I had 6 years on you, but you got plenty of time to abuse narcotics. Yeah. There you go, FM. Plenty of time to do heroin.
Very hard speaking and basically isolated to the point where I talk to myself more than I talk to other people in my family.
Will I do that now?
It'd be good if I.
What are you
Join
talking
the,
about?
join the club. You know?
Yeah.
Your old Harrison.
Yeah.
Did you go back in time and make this call?
Yeah, that's what I sounded like.
At 23. What do you talk about with yourself?
I sounded like fucking white trash Crispin Glover.
He looks like white trash Crispin Glover.
That's what
That's
this guy
very
needs.
true.
You need a
Yeah.
fucking guinea
'Cause
pig.
then you're just
there,
talking
buddy.
to, you know, you're a pet.
There's
But
this-
yeah, when I didn't have a pet, I still talk to my goddamn self.
do you
know?
talk in the mirror or do you just talk to yourself while you're walking around?
Both.
Not in the mirror. I'm not a fucking.
Did you ever
You know,
have
not a
imagine-
super villain. I don't used to talk to myself in the mirror. I talk to myself as I walk around the apartment. You know, like anyone who's seen a live stream of the show, all the stuff I like babble to myself. Like if Dee's not in the room or whatever.
Meow,
it's
meow,
just what-
meow, meow,
Yeah,
meow,
yeah,
meow. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
When you were a kid?
Yeah.
I used to love when he'd go like, bippity, bippity, boppity, bee. Like, he
Yeah,
would
when he was scatting.
Yeah, he would like scat, and it was just like, "What are you doing?" He would while because I mean, he would fucking take like an hour to set up the fucking cameras that we got for the live stream. He'd be like, "Bippity, bippity, bippity, bippity." You're just like,
See, my version of Harrison scatting is whistling. I am a fantastic whistler. I whistle all day long. No one knows how strong my whistling powers are apart from Gigi.
and if you think Kate's voice is annoying, you should hear her whistle.
I'm a great whistler. Don't listen to D.
I think I've discussed him on the show a few times. Roscoe, the hermit caveman. Yeah.
Roscoe.
He was actually
that was
a
his
guy
childhood
that was
friend.
from this like weird ass children's TV show from England from like the 80s called like The Children of the Stones or like The Stones of the Children something, you know.
Wait, Jimmy Savile?
No. Asshole.
So wait, what did Roscoe look like a caveman, or could you not see him?
No, I called him a caveman because he lived in a cave and I didn't
Oh.
really fully understand that was a racial slur.
Is this Sonny Bean?
No, he wasn't a lawyer, you fuck. the guy in the show was his name was Roscoe, the guy in the show, and he
Oh.
was just some kind of weird hermit that could do like that was like a shaman or something, and he knew magic.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was like, oh, this is cool. This guy's cool. He lives in a cave. He's a caveman. And then I think I just transposed him into reality, and I made him my imaginary friend.
Okay, I guess I was getting confused with this caveman that was unfrozen and became a lawyer.
All right,
That's
I don't know.
different.
I don't know if the kids are gonna get you really with it. Early '90s SNL references.
Great reference on
There's
my
a lot
part.
of
Phil Hartman fans out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't get them
yeah.
wrong. So when did you stop talking to Roscoe? Like 3 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. We went our separate
You
ways.
went your separate ways.
Yeah.
At the age of what? 35.
Yeah.
All right.
He stole
Well,
my Adderall, and that was it.
just like- yeah. Back to your cave, Dick.
Oh, God.
Okay. Well, let's get back here to.
Hey, D, my name is Hans, and I'm Franz, and we're going to pump you up.
Swing.
Yeah.
How much I appreciate
Oh, God.
people
That
like
made
you
me laugh.
giving a separate perspective for more people people like me who don't really have an outside one that isn't, oh, why can't you not be a fearful mess whenever you try to talk to somebody? Or
That's where his name came from. He christened himself.
A fearful mess is something I have been many, many, many times in my life, and I don't think I've ever
God.
described it like that. But that's kind of the perfect
That's
way.
an apt description. Believe me, we're all fearful messes.
Yeah. It'll
This
be
is
like
true.
I'm trying to get like detergent at Ralph's, and I could definitely be described as a fearful mess. You know.
Yeah, that's why you don't leave your home.
What was this thing he said? He was a separate perspective.
I guess we give
That's
them
a good
separate-
title for my my manifesto when I inevitably fucking go bananas. A
Your
separate
I
perspective.
bet he wrote. I know. I'm like just
Oh,
all I'm
yeah.
just hoping this guy doesn't have firearms.
Hmm.
Don't get firearms there, buddy. Get an imaginary friend instead.
I used to be a fearful mess.
But now I have an
God.
AK-47.
There could also be a talk show I host.
Ooh, I actually kind of like that. I could see that like a public access show. This is a separate perspective, and I am Harrison.
I'm your fearful mess, Harrison.
That's what you should get on your business cards. Hi, Fearful Mess here. I'm gonna make shirts of that.
Yeah.
just, I don't know.
We should
not-
make a Fearful Mess shirt.
not
I was gonna
local
say we should for the team.
I'm gonna work on
or
that.
anything like that. And there's a lot of things that I could potentially tell you about, but I figured I might not as well waste anybody's time. So I figured.
No, I want to hear from you again. I think instead of
Really?
talking to yourself, call the Sick Wrong hotline because this is amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like he averts his eyes from anyone, like he's Igor or something, you know?
I
Yeah.
just see him, like, just kind of staring at the ground, avoiding people, and just be like, "I'm a
Please,
fearful mess."
Please,
so I can talk to
master,
people.
can I have a biscuit? No, don't beat me. No. Like that's what he makes it sound like.
Honestly, I think this guy's great. This
I
guy's
think he's
great.
amazing.
I think, seriously, you should be. I almost would like to see a whole stand-up act. I don't think it would happen because he's a fearful mess. But fearful messes make great stand-up comedians.
They do.
It is. That's true.
What do you say? He's like, I avert my eyes like some kind of loser or something. I
Oh my God.
love this guy.
I love
God.
this guy too. We got to
God, I
come
love
up with a
FM.
good name for him.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Travis Bickle, but we can come up with something better than
we
that.
can do
Fearful
better.
mess. Duh.
I just say that there are a lot of people like me who I feel are very gracious, and I'm
A lot of gracious people out there. Actually, I think there should
That's
be
why
more.
you should never look them in the eye. To them. Call him fearful mess.
All right,
Yeah.
he is Fearful Mess
Okay.
FM.
Yeah.
happy
That's
that
when we got the name.
I can listen and make my worthless days a little bit brighter, trying to work on my future.
His
So-
what days?
his worthless days a little
Oh.
bit brighter while he's trying to work on it. I don't think this guy's a dwarf.
My dwarf-esque days. No, spiritually dwarfed. You know?
Yeah, metaphorically dwarfed. I see this guy being a supervillain.
Oh yeah, he's definitely the guy where it's like, he gets, hit with the chemicals or something, and then he makes everyone pay.
Yeah,
You
he's gonna be like what's his name in Unbreakable?
Mr. Glass.
Michael Jackson. That's kind of what I'm picturing.
Michael Jackson.
Samuel Jackson character.
Michael Jackson was not in Unbreakable, dude.
Radioactive accident.
That movie would have been a hell of a lot better if Michael Jackson.
Well, it would have
wasn't
been a hell of a lot noncier.
Yeah,
And everybody's gonna
and everyone's gonna pay.
Yeah.
I
I don't
know,
have to look away at them anymore because I took out other eyes.
They were.
keep it sick, keep it wrong, and this is a good start. Okay.
Oh my god, that was I forgot how amazing that call was. But it was
FM has grown and changed so much, but that sigh at the end.
I mean, people that have been listening to the show for X amount of years or whatever, a full transformation of character. FM. And I mean if Harrison and I played any kind of role in that, yeah, I mean I think
Definitely did. I
I-
know
I-
that Harrison always said that FM was one of his favorite callers.
No, Harrison did say that. Yeah, he was one of the best. Let's read a couple emails, and then I have a really funny clip. I have a really funny clip, and people might remember this. When I was talking about how Harrison ruined Lenore's birthday party with this crazy chick. Do you remember this one?
Can I just say I've had 3 beers, so I have to go to the toilet now. It's been like 2 hours, so I need to.
You know what? All right.
I'm going.
I'm
going.
gonna go to the toilet. I'm gonna play an ad here. People might remember
Oh,
this.
with Harrison. Okay, I'm going.
So let's take a. You know what they call it at work? They call it a bio break. Let's take a bio break. I love how they do that. It's like, let's end the minute. Let's start the meeting 5 minutes later so you can have a bio break. It's like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, people go take a bio break, and you can listen to this this ad here. People might remember this one. It's actually applicable because Valentine's Day is coming up.
You can make this Valentine's Day one that you'll both never forget with this amazing offer from adamandeve.com. Through Valentine's Day, you'll receive 50% off just about any item. Just go to adamandeve.com and you'll find over 18,000 adult entertainment products, including toys, lingerie, and a seemingly endless selection of adult DVDs. And there's more. With every order, you'll receive our romance kit free. Our romance kit includes a toy for him, a special massager for her, and a little something we know you'll both enjoy. Plus a free adult DVD to put you in the mood. And that's not all. Oh no. We'll also throw in free shipping on your entire order. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special Valentine's offer. Get 50% off one item, a free romance kit, and free shipping when you enter offer code DIDDLE. DIDDLE. That's DIDDLE at adamandeve.com.
I have no idea where I pulled that music from, but yeah, no, I don't know where I pulled that music from, but it actually fit really well. That was the one that was the one thing about Harrison. People might remember he did the best voiceovers. Let me see if I shit, I don't even know if I have that one on here. But yeah, the voiceover he did, which I played on second show. I'm not trying to pitch Patreon, but second show I play a lot of the old clips because we obviously don't do a lot of the stuff that I've just retired over the years, like all the intros that me and Wackerly had and things like that. But Harrison's Patreon promo, it was one of my favorite things. I'm gonna play it a little later. But yeah, he did the best voiceovers. And the Spotify ad, I don't know if people you remember this, we spent like, God, probably $1,500 on a pointless fucking Spotify ad. And Harrison's voice was great on it. And I remember we did a few different takes, but he had just like the perfect voiceover voice. Yeah, we're getting drunk here. We're taking a bio break, all right, people? Bio break. But I got some good stuff coming up. I kind of want to get into some of the fan interactions. There were some big fans that Harrison became personal friends with, like Jizzy Jake. Got a great call from him. Everyone remembers Schlitzy. So I got Kate Rambo's getting like 4 beers. How many beers do you have? Like four? How many beers do you have? Like four?
Me, you got a sixer.
It's gonna be one of those shows. Well, let's get drunk. Let's get drunk. Fuck it. We're
I
not.
am getting drunk. Like,
Exactly. I gotta go take.
Saturday night for me, baby. All right.
I gotta drain the entertainer.
I'll
be right-
watch the children while you. What was D chatting about? Was he slagging? Who was he slagging off? Yeah, I went to go and get beer. That's why I'd been away too long. I went to get beer. I let Chi Chi out, and I dipped a falafel in some tzatziki, and then I just swallowed it whole. That's what I was doing. Technically petting the cat by letting him outside. He's outside to go and hunt, although he doesn't hunt at this time of year. He's a killer in the summer. He did kill a bird the other day, and then he vomited up everywhere the remains. Hey, I love Heineken. What are you talking about? Pour that down the lavvy. It's not like it's bloody Carling or Foster's or Budweiser. They're down the toilet beers. I love a tiny Heine. Although last year, I really got into Estrella. Estrella. It sounds like it could be in the Renettes. Estrella Renettes. And that was really good. No, it's not okay that your cat is on fire, Gino. Is it Ninja? I hope it's not Ninja. Oh, and Sophie. Jizzy. Mr. Bajoto is asleep. He killed another brown bird who comes for the seed.
There are a lot of
Sadly.
people commenting.
Well, they all thought I was gone way too long, but I let Chi Chi outside. I ate some falafel, and then they're all talking about Chi Chi not killing birds.
Yeah, Chi Chi is.
Well, that's
you know,
mainly what I talk. Are you going to tell the story about Mr. Pajotto? Right.
Yeah, since we're taking a little break here. When I was staying with Kate, this is when was this? October. I was there for like 6 weeks. It's really cool. My job is like, yeah, go work remote. It's because of COVID. I hope they stay like that. I hope we never have to go back to the office. Anyway, there's Bird that Kate has like a relationship with. It is a bit unnatural, but she has a relationship with this bird that she named Mr. Pajotto. He's a pigeon. But we have
a 2-year relationship.
You've been feeding him. You leave out food and everything. And so, anyway, Kate was sleeping. I got up for work, and I went down to go make some coffee. And I saw Pajotto. He was sitting there like eating his food, eating his fill of birdseed. And then I also saw Chi Chi. And he was like on the corner just stalking him. And Pajotto, unaware that he was about to be murdered, was just sitting there. And Chi Chi was just stalking like a cat does, like sneaking up on him.
Their shoulders.
I didn't even have I don't even think I had shoes on. And it was fucking cold too. And I was just like, no, I have to save Pajotto. Kate's going to be gutted. You're going to be gutted if Pajotto dies. Like if you found Pajotto's corpse just torn apart, torn asunder by Chi Chi, how upset would you have been?
I would be so terribly upset. I've been feeding Pajotto for 2 years, and his wife, because Mr. Pajotto sometimes brings Mrs. Pajotto down when there's different. She likes a different type of seeb. He likes a certain type of seeb.
So I saw him.
I would cry.
I knew that was going to happen. I was like, I got to stop this. So I ran out, and I was just like, no. And Pajotto was so full of birdseed, he couldn't even fly properly.
I take care of my birds, man.
Tried to fly, and he flew right into the window, your kitchen window, and fell on the bench. And Chi Chi was like, I'm going to kill him, and just pounced. And I full on blocked him like a soccer goalie, like a football goalie. I blocked him, blocked his attack. And Chi Chi just hissed and ran up the wall and took off. He was so fucking pissed. And I kind of stood there defending Pajotto, and Pajotto was dazed. He just kind of lay there. And I was just standing there just trying to make sure that the bird was all right. And after like, I don't know, like maybe a couple minutes, he got back up and was just like, fuck, and flew away.
I love Mr. Bajoto. He comes at a certain time every day. He comes at 10 o'clock, but in the early morning between 6 and 9, I have 2 brown birds that come and eat all the seed that I leave out for them. Chi-Chi ate one of them.
Chi-Chi was so fucking pissed. He was pissed.
Yeah, well, he's eating one of my precious brown babies.
Leave out food for fucking the birds. That's basically, you're just like, you know what you're kind of like? You're like the hunters, the fat hunters in Michigan that put like carrots and all the things that deers love, and they just sit in there blind. And when a deer comes, they just blow its head off.
No, I'm not like that because I love these birds.
And Chi-Chi's just like, great, she's left some seed out. I'm just gonna go kill the fucking birds that she's attracting.
It's funny because he sits in the window and his tail does that swishy tail thing, and then he's going.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, never gonna eat them, mate, because they're my birds. They're not your birds. They're my birds. Okay.
Enough bird talk.
Never. There's never enough bird talk.
Anyway, let's get back to it. So we got a few emails. Kate, you're gonna read out a couple emails, and then I'm gonna play this clip from an earlier episode of how Harrison ruined Lenore's birthday party.
Okay,
it wasn't him. It was the girl he brought with him on a date.
We got a message from Down Under. This is from Paul in Australia, who says, "Hey Dee, just a quick message to send my love and hope you going okay. The sad news is it's all terribly hard. I spent yesterday listening to episode 79. Yourself and Harrison were full of laughs and good spirits. It's strange listening to old episodes now. Kate's mum rang in for advice on the dog getting in the way of their lovemaking. You're saying how you'd never get married, and Harrison filling in the gaps. Your show, if you were unaware, gives so much to so many. You and Kate are fantastic. Thank you, Paul. Really hope you're going okay." That's so Australian. Hope you're going okay.
Going okay. Good on you, Paul. Thank you.
Todd on Facebook says, "Hey man, I just wanted to reach out. I hope you're doing all right after what's happened this week. You were so patient with him over the years. It must be pretty rough at the minute. I wish you all the best. I think the last show and the last call he took was one of mine, I think, and I wish he could have figured it all out. You guys had some amazing shows together. The Fisting Fest one sticks out. Can you remember that? Fisting Fest.
Yeah, we had his friend on, Jonesy, who wrote the book about fisting and about like it was about like the gay scene back in like the late 70s, early 80s LA, and how he would like, have fisting parties. I mean, it was very graphic.
The only thing I can think of when you say Jonesy is Sophie's cat. It's just the picture that comes to my mind is Sophie's cat. He wrote this book about fisting.
That guy was great. It was funny.
He continues on. He says, "For some reason, though, there was an episode you guys did about Lindsey Graham at the Brett Kavanaugh trial, and you guys are rolling around laughing, saying stupid shit like, 'This isn't a court case. This is hell.' And I'm madder than a cat factory full of rocking chairs." You've got to do it, dude. You do the best, Lindsey Graham.
You remember that was like during that the hearing on Brett Kavanaugh, because he was being accused of sexual harassment or something. The guy's a dick anyway. But yeah, Lindsey Graham is just like, "This isn't a court case. This is hell."
Yeah. Madder than cat.
On and on about it. Probably, ad nauseum right there.
He says that my girlfriend and I still quote that regularly. It was a great example of the chemistry you guys had on the good days. Anyways, I hope you're doing all right, man. I hope he's found his peace too. Cheers for all the years of entertainment.
Thanks, dude. This next caller loved Harrison and used to call in quite a bit for sexual advice, sex tips, not sex tips.
Hey Dee, hey Kate, it is Alberta Girl. I'm just calling in regards to the tribute show. I wanted to express my deepest condolences and my utmost sadness and heartbreak at the passing of Harrison. While I never got to meet him in person, unfortunately, it was definitely something I wanted to do. We did have conversations via Messenger on occasion, and when I did call in with questions, he was actually really helpful and gave great advice, even when other people were busting his balls about stupid shit like feathers and all that crap.
Oh my God, he used to get so pissed off about the feathers.
Oh, the feathers thing. You know what? It's taken us a long time for anyone to even mention feathers, and I think Harrison would be proud of that.
No, I think so too. I mean, it used to piss him off, but it's
He
classic.
was
And
so easily riled.
he was riled about it, but this is like classic English, like mean-spirited British humor. They know one thing that pisses you off or that bothers you, and then you just keep bringing it up. And so I think what happened is someone made a joke about a feather. I don't remember the origin of it, but someone made a joke about a feather. It pissed him off, and then every fucking English listener would just call in about his feathers. Same with the pedo glasses. Remember that?
He used to get annoyed. But you know what it means, right? If a British person is picking on you for something repeatedly, it's banter, but it means they fucking like you.
Exactly.
They like you. Get
Like, if
over it.
they didn't take the piss out of you, they wouldn't like you. So I think that was the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think they were showing that they actually did like Harrison, but it pissed him off.
And, had a big heart, and he was a larger than life personality, and he will be dearly missed. I know he hasn't been on the show in quite some time, but he's definitely left an imprint on me and my heart, and I've been sad ever since he's passed away. Anyways, I just wanted to say, Harrison, I wish you knew just how much you were loved and adored by all of us, and you will be dearly missed. Well, except Bonaville, because, well, whatever, Bonaville just hates the world of society and whatever. He
I have a really funny early phone call from back when we called him Batman villain before we changed it to Boner villain. It's really funny. He was calling in about saying how he's going to come to LA and teach me how to live, like how to manage my finances and buy a home. And I was like, yeah, buy me a home.
It was Bonavillain, though, that told basically Harrison to buy crypto, and Harrison went out and got a ton of crypto, and he made loads of money, though. So
Was it?
you should listen to Bonavillain.
Ah, yeah. Well, where's the wisdom there?
But Harrison, we love you, we miss you, and I hope you're at peace and in a better place. Keep it sick, keep it wrong. Thanks for everything, Dee. Kate, you're amazing, and I will pour one out for Harrison on this occasion. All right, peace.
Raise our glasses. Thank you, Alberta girl.
Awesome. That was a great call.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
good.
her.
So here's an old friend of Harrison's.
What's up, sick and wrong? Fucking Jizzy Jake.
Jizzy Jake.
Oh, wow.
That was one of my favorite Harrison stories too. I mean, it's a little later, towards the end of his tenure on the show. But remember when he flew out to fucking Florida to drive across country with his maniac?
That ill-fated roach.
Oh my God, it was such a Harrison story. I remember I was like, why would you do this?
I love the fact he had a panic attack basically from start to end.
As if you wouldn't. I think any normal person would.
Had a lot of shit going on, but figured I'd call in with another Jizzy Jake story.
Jizzy Jake.
That's the last time I saw Harrison. Shit, I was freaking out because like I was in LA and fucking the election was about to happen, and I was like, fuck, dude, this city's gonna fucking, oh my God, man, I can't fucking be in a riot right now. And so me and Harrison went out for some drinks and shit, and there was a truck parade that fucking paraded down the goddamn street, all trying to antagonize people and shit. And he looked at me and he said, Jake, this city's gonna fucking burn. And I said, fuck, Harrison, I need to get out of here. Me and my dog might get burned alive in a fucking car. And he said, well, here's $500. Get the fuck out of here. And then we go back to his car. And he opens up the car door. He gets in. And he starts the car. And I open up the passenger door. And I'm like, fuck, man, why'd you throw a bunch of shit up on my fucking passenger seat, bro? What's up? He's like, dude, I didn't put that shit there. That shit isn't even mine. I thought that shit was yours. I was like, nah, dude, like, what's going on here?
Was it even his car?
Jizzy Jake's car or Harrison's?
I think Harrison Jizzy Jake saying he opened up his car door, and then
Oh, yeah. Was it his car?
We were like higher than a kite in another person's car, and his keys started their car.
I knew it.
For about a good 30 minutes trying to figure out whose shit it was. And we were just like, fuck, dude, like, what the fuck? We parked next
Not the first time that happened to either one of those guys. I'll bet dollars to donuts. That
Yeah.
to the car that looked exactly like his, and his keys started their fucking car. Oh, it was dope. Scary too, because then we thought, we're like, holy shit, we almost got fucking GTA. But yeah, real talk. That motherfucker was a real fucking human being. Anybody that didn't get to meet him, you know, just you'll meet him in Valhalla. So yeah, nothing but love, man. Y'all be easy.
he did come back with a short part two here, so let me just get this.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course, Jizzy
Hey,
Jake did.
this is again. I forgot to mention one thing that I think that is very important for anybody who, you know, has appreciated Harrison's, like, you know, tenure on the show or just as a person and shit. You know, he called me, I don't know, like, just a little bit before Christmas, and that was the last time I talked to him. And, you know, he called me and he said, I just wanted to call you when I was happy. He said that he was sick of, you know, fucking going through the shit, and that he was fucking happy because he just went and saw a fucking witch who did like a
This is the story I was talking about. The witch with the fucking toad.
Yeah.
So hairy.
thing that made him, like, you know, fucking puke up some black shit and stuff, and that he was now like feeling like he could battle the addiction, you know. And he was happy about it, and he felt good about it, and he felt like, you know, it had an effect. So, you know, if anybody feels like, you know, the last, you know, part of his life is nothing but sadness, like, it wasn't, you know. There was some happiness in there. It's just, you know, sometimes we don't come out on top at the end, you know, and that's all right. We, half of us on this fucking group and on this podcast and shit have been failures for a lot of our life and shit, you know, and that's all right. We've accepted that shit. It's part of us. But you know, it's not all failures, you know. You gotta count the ones that are winners, you know. And you know, he had moments of extreme happiness, and enough to call me and gloat about his happiness, which I don't think he's ever fucking done that before in his life, you know.
That is kind of rare, actually.
Yeah.
You know, there's that. So, be nice to each other. Love each other. All right, peace.
Thanks, Jizzy Jake, man.
Yeah,
I
be
mean, I
nice to
think
each other. I like it.
But I think let's take a sip for
Jizzy.
and a Jizzy. That was one thing about, I think the reason why Harrison resonated with so many people is like a lot of people are dealing with demons. A lot of people are dealing with mental health issues. A lot of people are dealing with drug addiction issues. And I think part of it was like, well, I'm not as fucked up as this guy. And I think that, you know, I do think that kind of made people feel better. But also, I think it brought awareness to these issues and a lot of people to actually be like, you know, fuck, maybe I should get some help too.
Are we going to put some numbers somewhere for like mental health in the description? I think we were talking about that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's serious, and I think, you know, if you are suffering, it's like you should go out and seek help. And I know Harrison tried so many different avenues to try to you know, treat his depression and treat his drug addiction. You know, it's not like I think he was like, this is a part of me, and I have to do this because it defines my character. It's like, no, it's a demon, and it was something that he was trying to cure himself of. But it's a very real issue, and especially now, I think with people that are doing drugs, you have to be careful. Like I was talking to my brother,
especially in California at the minute.
California, but New York, everywhere. I was talking to my brother about this. My brother knows 3 people who died of fentanyl overdose. Because drugs are being cut with fentanyl, and drugs, not necessarily cocaine, but like sometimes some people, like, they don't even do heroin anymore because fentanyl's cheaper, and it's easier to find and to acquire. So if you're going to do drugs, believe me, I still do drugs and I've done drugs, but you have to be safe about it. You know, buy drugs from someone that you trust. Test your drugs. Like now, you can get testing kits for free actually, and you can test your drugs. And If there's fentanyl in it, I mean, you should be concerned.
And
you
don't
should
do
be-
drugs alone, ultimately. Just don't do drugs alone.
I mean, I don't know. You could deal drugs. You could do. Some people are, don't have too many friends or significant others.
Go to a shooting gallery. Go to a shooting gallery and hang out with the other crooks there. Just
let
don't
people
do them
know.
alone, people.
Let people know and definitely like reach out. We'll put some numbers. I mean, it is serious. Thank you, Jizzy Jake, for that. Actually, it was a good message. Let me play one more quick one here. And then did I play this Willowbird call yet? Did I play Willowbird?
Oh no, I love Willowberg. Got to play him.
All right, I'm playing this
Cute.
Willowbird call. It's a good
Canada
one.
representing. I did nearly say Canada then.
I like Willowbird.
Hey Dee, hey Kate, this is Willow Bird. Harrison, what can I say about Harrison that somebody else hasn't already said? I think Martin Steele will describe him best as a mess of a man.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are probably going to be sharing their favorite memories, and I've been sharing a couple of mine on the Discord here and there. But I've decided what I think the most emblematic of Harrison is around episode 644, which is the Elsagate episode.
Oh God, yeah.
That was Harrison at his best. It really highlighted what he could be when he wanted to try. It brought together secret societies, government mind control, a few dashes of the occult, child trafficking rings, just all the stuff that Harrison loves. It really showcased how insightful and interesting Harrison could be when he was actually engaged in a topic. I know the guy could be hit or miss, and especially more miss towards the end of his tenureship, but he really made an unforgettable impact on the show. He'll always be part of the history, even though he fucking hated it at the end. And, honestly, who could blame him? Why the fuck am I still listening? Who the fuck knows? But I know that he hated when people would keep the good and forget the bad when someone died. But fuck him. He's not around to stop me anymore, so I can do what I want. So keep it sick. Keep it wrong. Hi, Al Harrison. Kate, I hope I can look back on you as favorably when Dee inevitably chops you up and puts you in the basement. But
You'll make me into a smoothie, Willowberg.
There'll be a very special show. Kyle Harrison.
Kyle Harrison. Can I say, also from the Canada land representing, Christopher Siege on his podcast, Too Much Energy, and he did a really nice little tribute to Harrison at the start too, where he talked about his feelings. So
Yeah, that Elsagate episode though, God, that was like straight up Harrison's wheelhouse. He was so into that. He spent like weeks researching that. Like, he was so into that Elsagate episode. And well, I mean,
I get it. When you're really into the episodes, it's kind of like I really liked the Dorothy Stratton one because that's so up my street. There's not much I have to research about that. I already know it. I can already be in Harrison's like excited energy for it.
Do you guys remember that one about that guy who was like giving money to prostitutes in Detroit?
Yeah, I never heard about him until you guys covered him.
That Harrison was like super into this guy in Detroit that would drive around. That is probably a serial killer because a lot of these hookers were going, would go missing like a couple weeks after he was like
filming them.
An engagement with them where he was giving them money. Definitely very sketchy, and he had like a van full of food.
The other episode I remember is the Countess Saint Germain. That guy is totally Harrison.
Oh yeah. That was another one that he was super into. There were some really memorable episodes. This next one is another like Harrison outlandish wacky story, which there were many, but this is one of my favorites. So is when I kind of and actually I think he'd been on the show for what was this like episode 535. So he'd been on the show for a while, but this girl. And she kind of became sort of a figure in Sick and Wrong lore. And if people recall when Harrison was stabbed almost in his genitals.
The stabbing. This is when I'd kind of first started listening to the show, and it was the stabbing that drew me in.
But it really highlighted how insane and random and unpredictable this guy's life was. But anyway, a lot of it, though, he brought on himself. And this is one in particular. Like, Harrison. I think most people who met a woman like this, you just have red flags popping up everywhere, and you'd be like, all right, I think I'm going to ghost her and go find one that's less drama. Not Harrison. Harrison's like, I'm going to take this relationship to the next level.
But
So-
Harrison was also the red flag boyfriend, though.
Yeah, that is
Wasn't
true.
he? Like,
No, for sure. I think these are two red flags getting together and commingling for sake. But yeah, this is great. So this is when he brought this girl. Her name was the best. This is her. I don't know if it's a real name or if it's a pseudonym or nickname. Deathy. Deathy. That just says it all. Anyway, he brings Deathy to Lenore's birthday party. It's derogatory. I don't mean to get that. She seemed a bit mentally unstable, though, to me.
But I mean, who, in this world
isn't?
Who isn't, really?
No. Who isn't
That's
mentally
fair.
unstable?
I mean, at least she goes to regular therapy. I sure as shit don't, So,
But does
you
she
could
have
say that?
Okay, so let me just set the scenario for people who weren't there.
Yeah.
Lenore Claire had an impromptu birthday party, and she
Right.
invited a few people to go eat at a group dinner at this Mexican restaurant. And so we all show
I don't
up.
think I'm getting invited to things anymore.
Well, we all show up, but there were like, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people there. And so I got there a little late, so I was sitting at the end with my date, and then Harrison shows up with this girl who, I said before, looked a bit like Gilda Radner. From Saturday Night Live in the
She doesn't
70s.
know who Gilda. I told her that she doesn't know who Gilda.
She really did. Like a young Gilda Radner.
well, firstly, that's really fucking hot. And secondly, she doesn't know who Gilda is.
I'm
I'm
not saying-
actually insulted by that.
Well, I'm not saying she was unattractive because Gilda
No,
Radner.
Gilda's hot.
She was attractive, but she was young, so I can understand. Like she doesn't know.
I know who
sex
Gilda is. We
Yeah,
should
but
all know who Gilda is.
members from like 1978. I agree. Gilda Radner, very, very talented, brilliant comedian.
Aghast right now.
Yeah,
Aghast.
she did. But she looked a lot like him, or a lot like her. She kind of looked a bit like that. She kind of like, black hair, but kind of, it was sort of disheveled. And she had like those big round glasses. It looked like a character. I can't think of the name of the character that Gilda Radner used to portray. And then Edie from Grey Gardens, because the way she behaved was very loud,
Love it.
obnoxious, erratic person that was saying, good apt basically description there. interjecting in many different conversations all at the same time. And then also speaking in just like nonsensical, non sequiturs, really. But anyway, she's just saying the most random things, interrupting people's conversations, and they showed up late. Everyone's already kind of sitting around talking. I mean, I kind of tangentially knew a lot of the people there, but we're like sitting there, and Harrison brings in this girl, and next thing you know, she's just like saying just random weird shit to people, interrupting people's conversations, and it gets
So she
better.
looks like Gilda, but she's like Edie from Grey Gardens. I would have loved this chick.
Maybe she was mental. Interesting person. I felt she kind of brought some liveliness to the party.
Right.
But it made me wonder. But everybody was just kind of like, "Whoa, this girl's wacky." I think the people at the other end of the table didn't really notice her.
Did they not? Okay.
I'm not sure because I think the one girl moved, and then the only other interaction that a lot of the people at the other side of the table had was when she was interrupting their selfies. That was the best part of her. I thought it was so amusing because any LA get together, soiree, whatever party, it's just endless selfies because that's what everyone has to do in LA. They have to post their fucking selfies to Instagram. So everyone there is like, I'm at this party, selfie, 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 and she just was disrupting all their selfies.
To be fair, I feel like people should interrupt selfies,
I agree, fully agree. I thought it was hilarious.
Apparently, it's a huge faux pas these days, but I don't know. I mean,
apparently, when you're at a party in Hollywood and there's a lot of attractive women taking selfies or group selfies, you're not supposed to interrupt them. I think it's a faux pas. But I was in tears because she brought like.
I mean, if it were up to me, we'd have a bonfire of the vanities, Prior to fucking go that way again, but interrupting selfies. Anyway, continue. Dee.
Well, she had this bag with her that had a bunch of crap, and I have no idea what she had in her bag.
She's kind of like
a homeless person.
She's like a human animaniac. I guess you ever see the Animaniacs?
She is kind of like a human animaniac.
She's like a human
Very
animaniac.
True. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
But she had this bag with just a lot of random shit in it. And so one of the things she had was a bunch of apples. And she gave an apple to the birthday girl. But anytime someone was taking a selfie, she was trying to shove the put the apple in the front of the camera.
Right.
So she had this whole bag of like apples. Like she bought for the birthday for Lenore, she gave her an apple. And
What
then she had
color? It's
a red
important
apple.
to me. Good.
But
'Cause
it was
only
just
red
like
apples should exist. Fuck you.
interrupting
people.
everyone's selfies by putting the apple like in front of their faces. And people didn't even know how to react to that.
I like this chick. I think you're all being too. I can see why Harrison is dating her because if Harrison isn't dating her, I probably would be trying it on with her. I think she's really fun.
Well, she probably would have loved you because she was molesting every girl there. And she kept like,
We would have gone home together.
she kept hitting me, like punching me hard. Like,
That's
I don't know
what-
why.
When girls do that to you, D, it means they fancy you.
Maybe, but I was with my girlfriend at the time. And then my girlfriend, she just like full on like felt her up, grabbed her ass. Like it was above
And
and
this
beyond.
didn't end in a threesome.
No, but well, other people were pretty freaked out by it, by her behavior. We'll get. I mean, you can listen.
I'm with Harrison on this, but I see why Harrison gets with her.
You could listen to the episode. Like they were on like some kind of Russian Special K called like Sputnik, some weird like Special K.
Harrison.
And that's why, yeah, it was like I don't know where he got it on a dark web or something, but they were fucked.
Imagine saying that to someone going, I'm sorry about my behavior the other night. I was on Sputnik.
She was doing it at the table. Like, pulling out of her fucking bag of like her bag of magic tricks. Like she was pulling out all this shit, and then she's like, "Oh, here, you want some Sputnik?" And it's like, "No, I don't know what that is." And they were both on, off their tits. It was fucked up. It's funny. Apple was in all the pictures because she felt like stylistically it should be there or something. The apple, yeah. And the I guess the I don't want to say resentment, but I would say there's definitely some disapproving faces.
I mean, I
in
thought
these
it was an
pictures.
interesting statement on mankind's fall from grace. You know?
I agree with that. I think that's what she was going for.
Yeah.
No, she was great. Where did you meet this girl?
Okay, Cupid.
Marriage material here. Did you know she was a bit off kilter just from the first email, just reading her bio?
Oh yes. Yes.
That's what attracted you to her?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a feral creature these days myself. Though I admit I look very good on paper.
Understatement.
But
As soon as they meet you person to person.
Yeah.
Where'd you meet this girl? Did you go out for coffee, drinks?
First time I met her, I went to her house.
You went to her house?
I went to her house, yes.
She owns a house?
No.
Oh.
Her parents own a house.
Okay, so she lives with her parents.
Yes.
How old is this person?
Mid to late 20s, let's say.
Wow, mid to late 20s and still lives with their parents. And she doesn't have Down syndrome,
Well,
right?
in this economy, it's not.
I know. It's inevitable. I'm going to say something crass like that. You know,
It's always you lowering the tone.
not
Me and Harrison should have had the podcast together.
it'd probably be way better.
It would have been me going, have you left the house today? No. Have you? No.
I do want to play a couple more calls, and I think we have a few more emails, and we probably have to wrap this up. And we'll continue on second show. I have a few other calls that came in.
we'll go for it.
I don't want to do this for like 4 hours. This one call is actually pretty good. Let me grab this up here. Let's see here. We have a couple people. I'm trying to find one that I haven't played yet. You know who called in? Buffalo Bill called in. I thought that was nice.
Oh, I love BB.
Yeah, BB called in. So let me play a quick one. It's a short one, but let me play it.
Hey, this is BB. I just wanted to call and commenting on the passing of Harrison. Sucks. And I think he was a troubled guy, but really genuine when it came down to it. And, it was always fun to hear get pissed off by some dumb shit that he was saying when you just tell us such a blatant lie and Harrison would fucking fall for it.
I did love winding that guy up. I mean, I'm good at doing that anyway.
I always thought it was funny when Harrison was like, yeah, I'm going to move to the UK. Harrison could not have survived the UK just
Wait,
because of our banter. I don't think he could have made a single friend here because he would have gotten angry.
He loved the UK. He's very Anglo. He had a lot of. I think he would have fit in like London.
Oh, he couldn't have survived the banter, mate. Come on.
I mean, he was very sensitive, and he internalized a lot of comments. But I don't know. I thought it was really funny just to wind that guy up because he would get so angry. He would get so pissed off. And I always found that really funny when
And then you'd get an email 3 days later.
well, when it was really bad. But yeah, like but there were times when I would just kind of say an off the cuff comment that would just be like, "You muppet!" Like he'd get really mad.
Yeah, I liked it when you wound him up as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like but it's the same thing with my brother. Like my brother, I remember.
Yeah, Jeffrey's a hothead.
Oh, Jeffrey's a total hothead. But I remember when we were kids. God, this was in South Africa. When we were kids, we had to go see a child psychologist. There was a child psychologist that my parents got to deal with my brother. My brother's very problematic when he's young.
Didn't they get one for you as well when you turned vegetarian?
I had to go see the same guy, Dr. Cowles, I think his name was. But anyway, I remember we all had to go and talk to him because Jeffrey was in like all this therapy with the guy, and he wanted to speak to the family members. And so it was me, it was my our whole family was there, and he was just like, "So, do you get pleasure in enraging your brother?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And it was just like, "What?" He's like, "Do you get pleasure in making your brother angry?" I was just like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I love." It's him. He does it, and I was like, and he's like, "Why do you do that?" I was like, "Because it's funny." And my sister started laughing because I was probably like, I don't know, 8. But it was the same kind of thing with Harrison. Like, God, that guy would just like fly off the handle in a rage and then just be back to normal.
Yeah, it was great.
It was so funny.
He said he was kind when he was on, and I think he cared about the people on there.
He really
Feels
did,
like,
though.
Some talent's on, and I wish the best for him and his family, and for UG, because obviously you guys work together, and it wasn't the best split, but I think he really liked being on the show. At the end of the day, I think he really got a lot out of it. I'm gonna miss him.
Jesus, BB, it's very morose.
I know, BB is usually so like peppy with his calls. Come on, BB.
I should have previewed this one, saved it for a second show. Jesus.
BB, I hope you're okay. Like, does
Right
Dean
there,
need to
BB?
send you a t-shirt? I think
Something.
Dean needs to send you a t-shirt.
Send him a shot of Jägermeister, something. I don't know. No, I agree, BB. We're all gutted, but I do kind of want to celebrate Harrison here on
Yeah,
the
we're
show.
here to celebrate Harrison, but I get what BB's saying. It's like
No,
you
it's a
do
bummer.
build up. Harrison definitely had friendships with people like me, and Harrison had like a weird friendship. He had friendships with loads of other people. It's like through this podcast, I've met like Sophie, who I like is one of my like lifelong best friends now. I never would have met her if it was not for this podcast. And you do build up weird relationships with people. It's like, how did you? When I tell people about how you and I met, it's always weird. I'm like, we met through a podcast.
Well, that's the thing. I think this podcast definitely facilitated meeting a lot of people you probably never encounter, especially
Exactly.
Catherine, the first caller. It was Harrison met her randomly through the show.
Yeah, it's how it goes.
It is kind of cool. But that was one thing, though, is the interaction with all the different fans. And like every era of Sick and Wrong had their own callers. Like people, long-time listeners to the show might remember Scott from Iowa, that fucking maniac during the Wackerly years. This dude,
Yeah,
he
him.
told the most bizarre stories. This like weird Midwestern guy, and then Trucker Paul, that was a wackily one. But Harrison, the Harrison years also had their own cast of characters, kind of like the Whack Pack. Jizzy Jake was one. Everyone might remember Ninja Face. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember Ninja Face
Face?
renamed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing the politically correct version. Harrison gave my phone number to Ninja Face.
Did Ninja Face ring you?
Yeah, like to try to intimidate me or something.
What?
You
How
know,
can How can he intimidate anyone?
I don't know if like he asked Harrison, he's like, "Give me his number. I'm gonna scare the shit out of him or something." And I was like, really just kind of confused. I remember driving in the Prius, like back from like Taco Bell or something, and I'm just like, "Who?" He's like, it's Ninja Face. And I'm like,
I was going to say, did you bring him and go, what's your favorite scary movie? What can he
know,
say to anyone? I've
voice,
been
but
drinking the water in Flint. I know. What?
he calls up and he was like trying to be all tough or I don't know, trying to be intimidating. And we ended up just like chatting and having a really good chat and then coming up with like a Ninja Face character we're going to have on the show. It actually was a pretty constructive conversation, but it was
And
weird.
he never rang in again.
I don't know what happened to the guy. I don't know. But
That was
Harrison,
enough for him.
like they were friends. They would chat on the phone and talk about like I think he was going to go out there and hang out with him. I don't know if he ever did. Then there was Flint Ninja. Remember him?
Yes.
He called in. One of my favorites that stopped listening to the show, Retarded Scoutmaster. I think that's what Harrison called him. Or I might have called him that. I don't know. We came up with his name. We used to call this guy Retarded Scoutmaster. And we'd just take the piss out of this guy every phone call. And this is like early on in the Harrison years. I remember like years later, he called back and he was just like, you know, I stopped listening to you guys and it was the best thing I've ever done. Best decision.
That guy.
Is
I
when
remember that guy.
So fuck you. Like he calls back and he says, hey, me and Harrison were just laughing. I do think one of Harrison's closest friends on the show.
Oh, I know who's coming.
Yeah, but also I think a brother in arms for him. And you know, it would have been nice if Harrison probably would have listened to him a little bit more. I think
Anyone on the Patreon knows what I'm about to go through.
he can be annoying. Don't get me wrong. I can be annoying also. But I mean, it's like everyone knew when this caller would call in, and he went through different iterations. You know, in the beginning, he was the guy who tried to kill himself, and then he became Schlitzie. But Schlitzie and Harrison definitely had a close relationship, almost like a.
Well, I think it was closer on Schlitzie's side.
Well, I think Schlitzie was really trying to reach out and help this guy. It's kind of a bummer of a phone call because Schlitzie was very gutted to hear the news. But I kind of want to play this. Just because I mean it shows like the true emotions that people had and the relationships people have with Harrison. So I'm gonna play Schlitzie's call.
Oh, hey Harrison, it's Schlitzie. Man, I just got over having a little crying fit driving.
I imagine Schlitzie cries a lot, don't you think? Just about whatever.
Every
Like
day.
crying jags. He's a guy that would have crying jags.
If I was Schlitzie, I would cry every day.
Just when you look in the mirror, just like when you get up in the morning, look in
Oh,
the mirror,
yeah, all of it. All of it.
or when you're masturbating, or both.
Definitely when I'm masturbating and definitely when I'm putting the speculum in my girlfriend.
When you get the speculum, you just start having a little cry.
Because I'm excited.
The song just totally triggered me. It's been man, just fuck you. Fuck you.
Jeez,
I remember when I first got sober, there was a
Oh
guy.
shit, it's literally sober. I never would have known that. Is he a sober person?
They used to crack me up when Harrison's like, "Oh, great! So you're gonna tell me how long you're sober again? I really want to hear this."
Schlitzie, who smokes weed and takes DMT, is sober? Shit, I never would have thought that. Does he drink as well? What a sober man. He's so straight edge.
It's all about being in perspective. Maybe he's sober because he's not using harder drugs.
Okay, what are we in an AA meeting right now?
I'm just saying, it's baby steps. All right, Kid Rambo. Jesus.
All right.
I celebrated a year, and then he had his celebration the day after me, and he went out and started drinking again. And about 2 months later, we went and did a 12-step call on him, and that's where you go and try and get some help. And I remember showing up to his place and him looking me in the eyes and saying, "Grant, I don't want to." And
That's what I'm saying. He lived his life by his own rules, and it sucks the consequences of that. But it's like my brother, same way,
Yeah.
same type of person. Like my friend Kessler, same type of person. They live their life by their own rules. They're going to do what they want to do.
Yeah,
and
which you have to admire.
But everybody has like, oh, you know, the best intentions of like, oh, this is how you should be living your life. Well, fuck you. You know, Harrison lived the life he wanted to lead.
He did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can stick your judgment up your ass, people.
hurt. And I remember going to a meeting and talking about it, and this old timer came up to me and said, listen, kid, if you're going to stay sober, you got to learn how to step over the body. And I've stepped over 53 bodies in the
keeping
3.5
count.
years I've been sober.
No one knows more dead people in Schlitzie.
And I knew...
It's like fucking...
Who is he? Like, what, is this the Holocaust? It's like my whole family been killed.
We both knew. We talked about it plenty, that this was the way you were going to die, and that was okay with you. And that's the little bit of happiness that I take, or the silver lining I take, is that I know that this is how you wanted to end, and you just couldn't do it yourself. It just had to happen. But this one hurts, man. I love you so much. I kind of knew, because when you talk to somebody weekly, regularly, and they drop off, the most you've ever dropped off is maybe 2 weeks, but I knew.
They did talk regularly. I know, even up until the end. I think that's why Schlitzie actually reached out to me, because he was like, "What the fuck? What's happening?" And because he hadn't heard from him in a long time, and that's when I.
Like by week 3, around Christmas, that you probably died, and still didn't take away it didn't make it any easier. I love you, man. I will forever remember you, and thank you for all the things you did for me, the help you gave me with my daughter, and I just love you, man.
Wow. Well, thank you there, Schlitzie. I tip my glass to you as well.
I have nothing sarcastic to say at this point.
Well, that's rare. But no, I think that right there, that call, and that's why I saved it to the end, it just kind of shows the impact, the effect, the inspiration that Harrison gave a lot of people. It is, and Wackerly's the same way. Like, Wackerly just kind of downplays it. It doesn't really, it's like, oh, who cares? It's a stupid fucking fake radio show. But it is. It is. The podcast is a fake radio show. It's a hobby, whatever. But I think it does have, you forge relationships with a lot of people.
I'm in a different perspective, though, because when Wackerly started the podcast with you, there was no podcast. You guys built it up and went with it. I'm someone who works a 40-hour week and listens to 40 hours worth of podcasts. I've got connections to these people. I've talked to Desi and Rachel from Hollywood Crime Scene. I have a small connection to them. So I totally get it. And I had phone calls with Harrison. Harrison messaged me, and yeah, it's fucking sad when anyone dies. Whenever anyone dies who you're kind of connected to in some way. But at the same time, I have the perspective of Harrison took a lot of fucking drugs. You don't live for a million years and take that many drugs.
He lived the life he wanted to lead.
Exactly, and I admire that for him. And he was a great character.
I admire.
Very talented guy. And
there's some more calls and things like that. We're gonna have to wrap up the show. It's gone on quite a bit longer than anticipated.
Long.
We're gonna do some of the overflow in second show. It'll be public. I'll post it, and you guys can check it out there. A couple of the other things I wanted to mention real quick. If you're going to go back and listen to some highlights from old episodes, I'm probably going to play this on a second show. But do you remember when the reveal of that guy Quigley? I don't know if you listened to that back then.
Yes.
When Harrison found out that Quigley was a fraud, he was so upset. He was so angry. It's a really fun. It's a funny clip. We'll play that on the second show. Some of the other things too is some of the interviews that we did were amazing. Jinx Dawson from the band Coven. That was great.
Yeah, and he got that interview as well.
Yeah. Andrew Bastiaco, the time traveler that was running for president. That was a good one. We mentioned Jonesy before, the book about fisting. And the guy Norman Ohler, that was a really good one that Harrison got, was Blitzed, Drugs in the Third Reich. So but that was a really good one too. I'm going to play this quick little Patreon promo just because it's one of my favorites that Harrison did. And then we'll wrap this up.
Do you need more sick and wrong in your life? You need one more news story to make you feel normal. Are 3 phone calls barely enough to feed the raging beast of desire? Well, then it's time for you to get the help you need and become a Sick and Wrong patron. Sign up at patreon.com/sickandwrong and you'll have access to exclusive Patreon-only content such as news stories, extra phone calls, and much, much more. Become a patron today and help us make a better Sick and Wrong for tomorrow. That's patreon.com/sickandwrong.
A better Sick and Wrong for tomorrow. Anyway, people, yeah, we got to wrap it up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for contributing to the show and with the emails and the phone calls. I think Harrison would have been floored. I really think he would have been. We're also going to play a few more calls and a couple more clips on the second show, which will be a public post this week. We're also while you're on Patreon, if you want to sign up for it, you can go check out the Sick and Wrong news segment that we're doing. We do that weekly. I believe it's at the $10 tier. But this week we actually have a couple funny stories about it. Have you heard about Mexican drug cartels recruiting runners through games like Grand Theft Auto?
Like I could do that.
Be a drug runner. And I have another story about an able-bodied woman married to a severely disabled man, and they talk about their sex life. So anyway, that's the type of thing we talk about in the Sick and Wrong news. Go sign up for patreon.com/sickandwrong. And yeah, we appreciate the support. Also, we have Sick and Wrong merch available at the TeePublic store, sickandwrongpodcast.com/shop. Click on the picture of the Pope. And finally, I want to play a song for Harrison as the Sick and Wrong song of the week. That is one thing that we both had. Thing that Kate had with Harrison too was just the love of music. We're both music.
I think if me, you, and Harrison had sat around a table, we could have talked about music for just hours.
I could see us getting pissed drunk and just listening to records all night because that's me and Harrison used to do that quite a bit. He taught me, he introduced me to a lot of music, vice versa. I showed him a few things too, but yeah, after every episode, we'd usually look at records and he'd pull out records and we'd like put it on and just sit there and shoot the shit. And a lot of the Patreon outtakes I mentioned before were discussions of the music we purchased on Discogs. Anyway, I was trying to find a song that would be perfect. That he'd appreciate, that kind of like, I don't know, summarize the feelings that people had for Harrison, and in a song that just I know that he really, really loved. Do you know the song "The Elf Sires" by the Rats?
Yeah,
we fucking love that song, and you can't even get the record. And Harrison did have a lot of random records, a lot of outsider music, things like that, but he had just a lot of like one song hits, and these like 7 inches would be like $800.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much my record collection.
I'm more of an album type dude. Like I have a lot of the records, and I've looked for this record. The second long player record by the band The Rats came out in '74.
You know what's funny about the Rats is there's about 10 different bands called the Rats as well.
Yeah, this is the English band The Rats. But
yeah,
we're gonna
not the Canadian ones.
Yeah, we're gonna end the song here with the Elf Sires because I know he really did love that song. Harrison's friend Jared mentioned that there might be a memorial or something in Los Angeles. I'm gonna ask him if he can Zoom it, and I'll post a link so people can check it out. When I find out more details about it, I'll post about it on social media and maybe talk about it on the show. Haven't heard anything yet, so but he said that's something that's in the works. Thanks to everyone for tuning in and hanging out with us.
Thank you.
This long show, very heartfelt. You know, I don't think Harrison realized how much of an impact he had on the Sick and Wrong listening audience. He definitely, without a doubt, left an indelible mark and a legacy that will be there for years to come. I mean, it's like these episodes are going to be here forever. So let's just all tip our glasses here to the passing of a true libertine, a radio legend, and a friend. Rest in power, Harrison P. Lovecraft. We'll be back next week with episode 829. Till then, take it sleazy. That was fun. It was a trip down.
All right. Yeah, trip down memory lane.
I do smoke weed, but I've done countless fucking episodes. What, 800 some odd episodes? I can't remember a lot of it. But when I listen to it and I hear the clips, I totally back to that time.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of listeners have that too because they're like, "Oh fuck, I remember when I was listening to this on the fucking tube." And
What I always wanted though, like I always
staring.
thought he said it every fucking episode. He went, he's an absentee landlord. He said it every fucking episode in my mind.
Find it. I mean, I was just randomly looking for it. You know, on a second show, because we're going to record second show next. I do have. Let me see.
I will be drunk for this the second show.
Yeah, I'm kind of wasted. I got fucking loaded last night. And
Well, I was wine drunk last night. So all these-
watching. She was watching for the podcast, watching Van Damme movies for the
podcast. Yeah, for the podcast.
for the
Like,
podcast.
well, this is my job for the podcast is to watch. I have to watch 12 Van Damme movies in 10 days. See me changing, but today when I was doing my workout, there was loads of kicks in it, and when I was doing all the kicks, guess who I was imagining I was?
Ooh, Van Damme
Van Damme.
or Bolo Young. That's who I always thought was pretty cool. He's the big Asian guy, the biggest Asian guy in the oh, except
he was
for
pretty big.
Yeah, he's the biggest muscular Asian guy, yoked out Asian guy. But anyway,
Yeah. Anyway,
second screen on
second
second show. I do have some good clips I want to play. I want to play one of my favorite Harrison moments. Do you remember how pissed off he was at HBO for that show, The Leftovers?
I can't even remember that show. We don't really have HBO over here.
He wanted
in
to
the
sue
UK.
HBO over this because he claimed that they stole his idea. I got that. I got the really funny Big Papa Smurf call.
Yes.
We get to a funny boner villain call, one of the first boner villain calls. Maybe not the first, because I think boner villain called him for a long time, but it was just a really funny one. And we've got a few more overflow phone calls actually that I do want to play as well. So that will be on second screen. God, I keep saying
Second show. I wrote a little eulogy, like obituary for Harrison. I'm gonna put that on the Patreon too. I'll make that free.
that. Maybe read it on second show.
Should I read it out? I'll read it out. I don't mind reading it out.
Or post it, whatever.
I will
yeah.
do both. Fuck you.
Tune in, people, and
Yeah, thank you everyone. It's been fun.
get drunk. Have fun.